What is up, my good people of the internet? Hanging out with you here inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Heritage Hill on 3149 Sweet Road in Pompey, New York, out in the country. And you will also find them in the city of Central and Upstate New York, right there by the Syracuse Hancock International Airport, centrally located to so many places, including but not limited to Liverpool, Beeville, Cicero, North Syracuse, Mattydale, so on and so forth. That is the new Heritage Hill location at Heritage Hill North on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, New York. And when Murph gets his tail up here, we're going to go to both. So a lot of great stuff coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We're starting your week off with, of course, DT and Murphy. That's how we start the weeks on Wake Up Call. This week we're in my studio. Next week we're in Murph's studio. Why? Because I'm going to be in the No-Nos, baby. I'm going to be in the Poconos. So we will be out in the Poconos / Philadelphia. And we're going to be doing our third Fishtown Card Show together. So Murph and I, you can come and see us right around the same area, right when you're walking in to the main room, that like opening hallway that people go through when they come into the casino. We're going to be right there, and we're excited to see you, excited to have some fun. And of course, here on the show today, we're going to talk about the Fishtown Card Show a little bit. And we're also going to get into our sports card show and tell, proudly presented as always by our proud partner and our place of choice for sports and trading cards, and that is GG Cards and Breaks on 639 Del Mar Place in Syracuse, New York. But before we get to that and the Fishtown Card Show, we're going to talk about Major League Baseball as well as the NFL. And to bring all of that together, before we do that, I want to say thank you to everybody around the country and the world that are watching and listening on the East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, all around the globe. And for those of you that listen in the sky, which I think is insanely awesome, never thought it would be a possibility. But for those of you that are 30,000 feet in the air and listening to the show, thank you so much. I honestly, the people that watch, the people that listen, the people that read on wakeupcalldt.com, we have articles, we have videos, we have audio shows. We try to make it very easy to get to us and hard to miss us. And so many of you have found us, and I'm so grateful for that. So, as well as the congregation from Pope John the 23rd Church, for those of you that I got to meet yesterday, if you're watching and listening, what's up? And I had a great lunch with you yesterday. Thank you for opening a seat at your table. YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both / WakeUpCallDT is where you're watching and listening all over the world. And you're watching on internet streaming radio, listening on internet streaming radio, wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. Or if Murph and I are doing a good job, you are watching on radio because you're supposed to be able to bring it alive in people's eyes. So, with that being said, Murph and I are picture in picture. And I am wearing a shirt that says Serpientes. And what does that mean? Well, that is the Spanish word for snakes. And who are the snakes? The Arizona Diamondbacks. And what have they done? Won every series they've played in since the All-Star break. Baby girl, daddy's having fun. So, Murph, good morning. How are you?
We are good. I unfortunately have been awake since about 7 o'clock this morning, so I got a lot done today already.
That's good.
I played a little NCAA. I answered some texts about some cards that I got overnight. That's about it.
Yeah, you had some fun, had a good time. I yesterday had the opportunity of going to a church picnic and hanging out there at the church picnic. And when I was at the church picnic, I spoke with a Mets fan, a longtime Mets fan, and she saw me walk by with my Arizona Diamondbacks hat on. She goes, "Arizona? really? And I was like, yeah. And I went and I was like helping them take down tables. So I moved the table and I came back to her and I went, you're welcome. I was like, we're playing the Phillies right now. You should be good with us. You should be fine with us. Because I did have another Mets fan reach out to me, Chris Heidel, a fellow broadcaster, and he said, thank you from a Mets lover for what happened. The Arizona Diamondbacks, and I'm happy. Listen, I'm happy in the moment. More work to do. I'm not gloating because I got Philly fans and we're going to be in Philadelphia this weekend, so it's not a gloating thing. It's like I'm super happy, pleasantly surprised. God bless, and very excited, but we got more work to do. I want the Diamondbacks and the Mets to make it to the postseason. I told this lady this yesterday, but I said to her, I was like, I got good friends that are Mets fans, good friends that love the Mets, and I was like, I feel like Murph will be happy this morning because the Diamondbacks won 3 out of 4 against the Phillies.
Did you see what the Mets just did in Seattle? I don't give a crap what the Diamondbacks did because the Mets couldn't do squat.
Trying to
they
help
scored
you a
one
little
run
bit.
in 3 games.
We're trying to help you a little bit. You know, it's like, I mean, we're trying to
help ourselves first.
Trying to give you a little bit of that, but I brought my hashtag back from last year. Do the people remember what the hashtag was? Snake bitten. So, hashtag snake bitten. Every series they've played in since the All-Star break, they have won. And I believe they've won the most games since the All-Star break. So, I'm proud of the Diamondbacks, but I also know that we have a lot more work to do. And
yeah. There's still a lot of baseball left.
There's a lot of baseball to play. So I'm excited, and I was like, I got to wear the Serpiente shirts. I got a bunch of Diamondback shirts, but I was like, I got to rock it today. At the same time, I understand that this is a piece-by-piece job. It ain't done. And, yeah, great reaction, Murph. I'm like, hey, man, saw a Mets fan, want us both to get in. This is great. Aren't you happy about what we did with the Phillies this weekend? Murph, in Murph fashion, no expression. Did you see what the Mets did against Seattle?
Because it doesn't matter what other teams are doing to help us. It matters what we're doing to help ourselves.
True.
And if we can't help ourselves, there's nothing we can do.
It's very true. Truer words have not been spoken, right? You gotta take care of business. And, it's been an interesting season here. What did this say here? Some fans can't accept that people don't like the same teams. LOL. And Chuck's saying that. And it's true. I do want to mention Danny Tome. And Danny, I love you to pieces. Now, Danny Tome is the owner of the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Here in August, hard to believe, but also hard to believe in the sense of how quick time flies, but not hard to believe in the sense that I love Danny and I love the Wildcat. We officially are in our 8th year of working. Wow. We've made it to 8 years. To August is now 8 years of working together with the Wildcat, which has been an exciting run. I want to believe we've only just begun and just gotten started here. And Danny is a Phillies fan. Danny sent me a message when the series started. He said, "Hey, Danny, just want to let you know, based on how this series goes, we may have to work on our agreement post this series." I have not spoken to Danny. That contract is signed, Danny, and I'm sorry, you're stuck with me. But so we have not talked, but he left me with, hey man, going into this series, Phillies Diamondbacks, based on how this thing shakes down, you and I might have to reevaluate our partnership. And I was like, yeah, okay, Danny, I love you, or it's not going to happen.
That's funny.
So I'm not talking to him. I'm laying low for a minute. So I'm laying real low for a minute. But Danny knows I will wear my Diamondbacks gear everywhere, anywhere, anytime, any place, whatever. But I spent a long time after the World Series not wearing Diamondback stuff in the Wildcat simply for one reason and one reason only. I respect Danny. He knows I wouldn't shove it in his face because I'm not that type of human. But it was like, to me, I will wear the Diamondbacks anywhere, but when I'm in the Wildcat, I'm not going to wear them there because Danny's hurting because of the Phillies, and I want to respect that. So, Danny, just so you know, in your anger this morning, that I have only changed my clothing to respect you. And I did. I was doing shows and I wasn't wearing Diamondbacks gear. It was like months before I did it because I know how passionately he loves the Phillies. I know how passionate I am about my teams. So I would actually I would be like going out, going, okay, what am I going to wear? And then in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm going to the Wildcat. I got to switch my sweatshirt. So I tried to be very respectful because, there's people out there that are not, and they'll shove things in your face. And I'll never forget my old producer. Keep in mind, folks, my old producer. Did I say my old producer? Not my producer anymore. When I came out of this isn't why, I'm just kidding. But when I came out of the Jaguars game in Foxborough when they were playing the Patriots in the AFC Championship and they lost by 4 points, and there was a really good shot I was going to not only be going to the Super Bowl but covering the Super Bowl. The NFL sent me a really awesome response, and I was excited for it. So he called me when I was still on the grounds. I was just walking out of the stadium. I was on the sidewalk, and he started to gloat. And I said to him, I'm going to get off the phone now. If you want to continue a working / personal relationship, you need to understand that what you're saying right now is not something that I need to hear right now, and it's not something respectful. It's not something I would do to you. I'm going to choose to get off the phone, and let's see where we go from here. And he kept going, and I don't do that stuff. If I know if I'm happy for me, I'm not hurting people with that. And so I want to know this morning, to those that are watching and listening, what type of fan are you? Are you the fan where it's like, I love my team and I'm going to bury the other team's fans? Like, I'm just going to berate you and yell at you and you suck and yeah, we beat you. Go home and cry, you baby. Or are you like the, hey, we won, good game, shake hands. I know what it feels like to be on the other side. Much love to you. I'm going to celebrate, but not in a gloating way. So, Murph, what type of fan are you?
I would only rub it into people that try to rub it into me.
Right.
So let's just say it's a Mets-Yankees World Series. You better believe I'm rubbing it into Yankee fans because of the 27 rings argument if they win. I hate the 27 rings argument. I also hate most Yankee fans, realistically. Now, there are certain fans that are fine, that I'll never have that argument with. But the ones that I could ever have that 27 rings argument with, you bet your butt, you better believe I'm rubbing it in. I had to catch myself. I almost said a no word there. Phillies fans is another one that, like, most Philly fans are really annoying, but I have tons of friends that are Phillies fans, and they would never, we'll ridicule each other's teams as a joke, but like if something's happening good for their team, we'll be kind of sort of happy for them. So like when the Phillies were in the World Series 2 years ago, I mean, I wasn't really rooting for the Phillies because they were playing the Astros.
Yeah.
And I kind of was, and I would text them after the series was over. I'm like, you know what, they had 2 months ago or a month ago, we would have never expected that team to get there. They got red hot at the right time. They just ran into a juggernaut. Right. That's a hell of a run for them. And, I kind of like talked them up a little bit and kind of dialed things down. But I would, like I said, I would only ever rub it into the people that deserve it. Right, the fans that deserve it, like the Yankee fan 27 rings arguments, or people that'll make fun of the Met, like people that I know that'll make fun of the Mets constantly and not stop. Like, I will rub it into those fans, or the fans that or people that hate the Jets and will do that same thing, because the Jets are probably more likely than the Mets are right now. Actually, they're definitely more likely than the Mets are right now. But the Jets, for the most part, I probably wouldn't rub it in because the Jets have been so bad for so long. I would just try to, be excited and preach that to anybody that'll listen.
Well, I want to say this, and I said this before when Murph said something on the show. Brendan Murphy's opinions and thoughts are not the expressed opinion of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora or Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, referring to the moment where he said, I hate most Yankee fans. So that is not our opinion here on Wake Up Call.
It's like Eagles fans. It's the same thing.
But the first thing I thought of
plenty
was my
that
grandfather.
are fine.
The first thing I thought of was my grandpa. Like my grandpa, if my grandfather was alive right now, who didn't say much, my dad's dad, he didn't say a ton. Like him and I had a great relationship, but he was more quiet, so they nicknamed him Spark because they said he would just sit and listen and take the whole room in, and he wouldn't say much of anything. And then there'd be this spark where he would just he would literally say one sentence and everybody would start laughing because he observed everything, and then he'd just give you a quick hitter. But he's a Yankee. My dad's a Yankee. But here's the thing. Which is cool.
So I said most and not all.
I know. But here's the thing that's really, really cool. My dad said to me last year in Arizona, after going to the World Series Game 3, we're sitting there eating. He goes, he's like, I can say now that I don't have any problem being a Diamondbacks fan, cheering on the Diamondbacks, as long as they're not playing the Yankees. Like from here on out, I'm going to cheer on the Diamondbacks in every situation, sans Yankees. And I didn't provoke it. I didn't ask for it. The fact that my father has come full circle from me sitting with him in the World Series in 2001, sitting there watching it on TV, where my Diamondbacks beat his Yankees after he told me there's no way that they're going to win this game. After that moment happened, and now all of these 23 years later, or 22 years at the time, the fact that my dad could look at me and go, I'm going to cheer on your Diamondbacks. And then he went and bought a ton of Diamondback gear on his own. Totally him. So that to me, I think my dad won in the fact that I'm a baseball fan. And I think that I won in the fact that he is a Diamondback fan in all cases except for Yankee series, which they don't play each other that much. So,
that's once a year.
Right. So that, to me, that's a good thing. It's a victory for me. But yeah, I mean, to your point, when you said I don't rub it in anybody's faces unless it's somebody who rubbed it in my face or trash talked me or this and that. I don't say anything. I'm a facial expression guy. You've known me long enough to know that people can, I don't hide. If I'm not feeling the room, if I'm not feeling those people that are around me in the room, you could tell on my face. I'm not going to be rude, but you could tell on my face I'm done. But you can also tell on my face when I'm having a good time. And so I'm not going to walk up to you and go, Arizona's in the World Series. Say what? I'm not going to be like, yo, F you, da 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 da. What I will do is when somebody walks up to me and goes, Dan, I guess you were right. I'll smile. I'll smirk a little bit. I might wink, and I'll keep on. But I do I do the facial expression. What do you want me to tell you? It was a great ride last year. I feel good now. And I feel like this team, the energy I'm getting, the way I'm feeling, I trust my gut. The energy I'm feeling right now is that this team's going to make another run. I don't know how far it's going to be.
Seems like it.
But I feel like they're going to make another run. And Daddy going to be happy because I want to go back to Arizona. So,
and you know what's crazy? It's not like Corbin Carroll's playing well.
Right.
It's the rest of the team.
Right. And that's been all year.
I mean, Eugenio Suarez over the last month just turned into Babe Ruth. I mean, their pitching staff, their arms are pitching well. The guys are hitting. They just picked up AJ Puck from the Marlins, who's nasty out of the pen.
Yeah.
I mean, the team's good. It's not like they have they don't have a true superstar, but they have a lot of very good players.
Marte.
That you think, well, yeah. That's you know what? That's a good point. I forgot about. You know why? Because everyone forgets he exists because he's in Arizona.
Everyone forgets he exists. Nobody talks about him. Why does nobody talk about Ketel Marte? You know that I can go.
You know why? Because he doesn't say much and he's quiet. It's
Right, he's a quiet leader.
he's
I mean,
very quietly the best player on the team, and very quietly could win the MVP too.
he set a new record last year for consecutive games with a hit in the postseason. He
Yeah.
set the record. The record in Major League Baseball history stands with Ketel Marte. He was just an all-star. The man just hit the 30 home run club again. I mean, I love this in this sense. When you go to GG Cards and Breaks and you go to the back wall and you have every MLB, NFL, and NBA team, which no other store has that I've been in a million years. Georgia's had it back in the day. They would have like the NFL teams and whatnot. And so I go back there, I pull out the Arizona box, and I find Ketel Marte cards, rookie cards, good looking rookie cards, and I bring them home, and I got them all over the place here. I think they're off to my right and to my left right now, but these cards are like, they're in the thing for like $3, $2. I mean, maybe they're more now, but I have collected a ton of his cards for like nickels on the dollar. And I mean, I love that because it's for my collection, because I love Ketel Marte and I love my Diamondbacks. But it's like,
You want to know something?
that to me as an example is like, why don't people, why don't they? Here, let me say it to you like this. I'm going to say it to you like this, Murph. Remember your point, but I'm going to say this really quick. Respect Ketel Marte to the people at the Fishtown Card Show this weekend. Respect him price-wise after Sunday, because if you have his cards, I want them at the price you have. So, like, don't be moving them prices up. Keep the prices down. Keep that price. Keep that like a $20 auto. I'm good with you. We're good. I'm good. You're good.
Yeah.
Let's be good.
So I decided to look up how much his first Bowman auto costs in a PSA 10.
Yeah.
How much do you think it costs?
80 bucks.
Because there's one that sold yesterday.
80.
You're selling them short, man.
I feel like people are selling him short. That's not my number.
I think this is legitimately selling him short.
This is not my number. This is me saying
one sold yesterday on bids for $158.50.
Yeah.
PSA 10 first Bowman auto.
Yeah. Because people don't regard him as an all-star, even though he was. They don't regard him as somebody who is a game changer. Whenever you talk about the Diamondbacks with the average baseball fan, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is Corbin Carroll. Corbin Carroll isn't hitting well. Corbin Carroll isn't having a season like he had last year. He was such a good rookie.
Mm-hmm.
He was Rookie of the Year. What is he doing this year? Why are we talking about that? Josh Bell hit like 5 bangers in 7 games. Like, I mean, Josh Bell comes on the team, home run, killing it out here.
I forgot they got him too.
Right, you got Ketel Marte.
They had a sneaky good trade deadline, man.
Right, Geraldo Perdomo, that dude has done some good things as well. He helped us out in the postseason last year. You got my man Christian Walker killing it, should have been an all-star. You got, I mean, there's so many guys on this team. Moreno, the catcher, there's so many different people, and the Diamondbacks know that they don't go through Corbin Carroll, and they know that they don't need Corbin Carroll to win. They've proven that. You're talking about Corbin Carroll not having the best of games. They scored 11. They beat the Phillies in 3 out of 4 games in this most recent series. One of the games, 11 runs. Another game, 12 runs. I mean, and then they just won the close one, 3-2. But this is a team that is not just Corbin Carroll. And if the rest of the league wants to continue to be unimpressed and unwavered and not even think about Perdomo and Walker and Moreno and Marte and so on and so forth, then be my freaking guest. Because last year they did it, and it's like Corbin Carroll, and it's blinders on for him, and that's fine. Because this team, if you watched it, folks, they banded together. They banded together and they helped each other out. And this night it was Moreno, and this night it was Perdomo. And then don't forget, see, this whole roster it's
good top to bottom.
Right. And it's the thing is there's, when people come up to hit, like Christian Walker last year in the World Series, like he had he had a little bit of a slump. And so, like, when he came up, you're like, all right, man, like, let's, hopefully he'll get this thing going. But the majority of this team is, when you see them top to bottom, like you said, you're not, like, worried when this guy goes up. You're not like, oh, crap. Like, this guy is going to be here. Is this guy going to be good? And I want to make another note here because it's another guy I didn't mention who had himself a postseason last year, and we made sure that his contract was taken care of. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. I mean, there's so many people on this team. So many. But keep underestimating them because they love it, and I absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm. People underestimate that team. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, I did too. Going into the year, I was like, you know what, the team's good, but they didn't really do much to make it better. Montgomery was a nice signing, but he's been awful for them. I mean, he's pitching at almost a 7 ERA for the year.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where if you have a good clubhouse, and good players, you can win plenty of games.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what the Mets did from June on, with the "Oh My God" song from Jose Iglesias, and everyone in the clubhouse loves it. And now they're not playing well. They just came off a road trip where they actually lost more games than they won for the first time in a while, and they're back outside. They're back on the outside looking in terms of the wild card. Only a half game behind the Braves, but they are 4-6 in their last 10. They just got swept by the Mariners, and I'm not all that optimistic about the Mets' chances right now. I'm really not, because they now they come home, they play the A's and the Marlins, and that they could easily win 5 out of 6 in those games there. But then they got to play the Orioles, then they got to play the Padres in San Diego, then they go to Arizona. That's 3 real tough series that you're going to have back to back to back.
Yeah.
Granted, you get the White Sox at the end of that, which could very easily be a series sweep. Who, by the way, they actually won a game for a change. Wait, have they won? I want to check. Have they won since then? No.
They have. The last time I checked,
they have not won
what,
since then.
They were 28. They were like 28 and 89 at last week when I checked.
They are going to have a shot to break the Mets all-time record for losses in a season. They really are, and that is bizarre to think about.
Not great.
They got to win 13 more games in order to not break that record. That is 13 games over the course of the next month is a tall task for that team.
The race for 13.
Yeah.
The race
pretty
for
much.
13. I mean, but how do you feel?
They got 6 weeks to do it.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Like,
if you win 2 games a week, they can do it.
If you're an Oakland A's fan, like, are you so thankful to the White Sox that you find you're not being talked about right now?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not, because you're still being talked about. And did you see what the owner did for the last game of the year? They took the tickets off the market, and they're going to repost them like in a few weeks and jack the price up like 150, or like 500% or 1,000%.
Why? Because it's the last game. Because they're going to go play in Sacramento. Because it'll be the last game at the
Coliseum.
Yeah, they're going to go play in Sacramento for maybe 3 years.
Billy Beane is rolling over in his freaking grave right now at this team. He was probably rolling over before he died at everything that's going on with that team. That's probably why he wanted nothing to do with them anymore.
Maybe the Oakland A's should go watch Moneyball.
Yeah. Take a freaking page out of your own book.
Go watch Moneyball, man.
This isn't Moneyball.
What a movie.
This is Moneyball. They won't spend $1.
Oh, it's Moneyball. It's just different now. It's Moneyball by definition, not the movie Moneyball, not what happened in baseball Moneyball. It's Moneyball in what they're doing right now with the fans.
Yeah.
They're taking that last game out saying, oh, this is Moneyball. Oh, these tickets are Moneyball. Oh, you thought it was going to be $10? It's going to be $156.
To a stadium that has 8,000 seats.
Listen, this Oakland A's franchise has not shown.
They're a joke.
They haven't shown me that they know what is happening, what's the plan for the future. You're going to go in Sacramento, which is an hour away. So your team has been awful, and now you want your fans to follow your awful team. If they stay awful, you don't spend a lot of money. The team hasn't been good. They're not the worst team in baseball right now. But you look at these guys and you say, I mean, think about the team. Okay, we're going out there. The fans know we're leaving. And this is what makes no sense to me. And here's my analogy. You break up with your girlfriend, and then you're like, yeah, I'm done with you. I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm sick of this relationship. Can I live here for the next 3 years? And then I'll go. And so, like, I mean, that's what it is. Hey,
I mean, are they even going to make it to Vegas?
This is my long prediction. I don't think they end up moving. I don't think they end up going to Vegas because they said maybe 2027, maybe 2028, potentially
Major League
2028.
Baseball needs to put a real team in Vegas.
Well,
not the A's.
Well, and here's the thing is, why would Vegas want this? Why would seeing how it's run?
Yeah.
That you don't spend a lot of money. You're gonna go to a AAA baseball stadium, and I'm not knocking the stadium for Sacramento. I'm just saying
You could knock it. It's a AAA stadium.
Right. So you're going to a AAA stadium. Some of them are beautiful, but like including the Syracuse Mets one.
But there's 8,000 seats.
So you're going to
9,000 seats.
Maybe they'll sell out now. So you're going to a AAA
No,
stadium.
they won't.
You're an hour
They'll still
away.
be lucky to have 2,000 fans.
Right. But you're an hour away. You're going to leave Oakland where you're not spending money and you're not winning. You're going to go an hour away to Sacramento. You're going to ask your fans to go see a losing team that doesn't spend money. And you're going to sit in a AAA stadium for 3 years. And then you're maybe going to go to Vegas. But if I'm Vegas, I got so much time. You don't say to Oakland, we're leaving you, Oakland, California, and then not move for 3 or 4 years. When you say you're leaving, your plan needs to be set in place with Vegas that when you say I'm out, Vegas comes in. That's not what's happening. You're giving Vegas a long time to think about their investment, and the longer the Oakland A's give Las Vegas, Nevada to think about this investment, the more I think Vegas is going to say, keep your team, we'll go find a new one.
They'll go get an expansion team.
Why not?
We are gonna have 2 expansion teams.
Vegas
at some
is
point.
in a place where there are, I mean, the Vegas Aces in the WNBA have won back-to-back championships. The Raiders have that spaceship that landed in Vegas. There's all this stuff going.
That stadium is sick, by the way.
When you went there and paid, talk about paying a
oh
high
my
price
God,
for,
that was absurd.
Right.
That was absurd. I mean, I know it's Vegas,
right?
And I know they were playing the Giants, but that was absurd, though.
That was a lot of money for
I
Giants
know.
versus Raiders, and then you got Then you got the Vegas Knights in the NHL. I mean, Las Vegas right now is ripe for another because you got an expansion team that plays in the Stanley Cup Finals in their first year in the Vegas Knights. You got the Raiders,
and they won
right
last year,
right? And then you got the history of the Raiders. And then you got the Vegas A's. So you think about it. Vegas taking in these teams. You got a WNBA team that's already won a championship. You got an NHL team that's already won a championship. And so if you're going to bring in a baseball team, think about this. Think about the people of Vegas and having, like, the mayor having a press conference. Ladies and gentlemen, the Las Vegas Aces have come here and they've won. People cheer. We've had the Knights come here as an expansion team as well, and they have won. People cheer. We have the Raiders' beautiful stadium and the opportunities here. UNLV plays here. They'll play Syracuse there. There's a lot of great things with this stadium and what this brings to us overall, not just in football, and people cheer. And then he looks around the room and says, so, with all the success we've had, the championships we've won, and how not only multiple leagues have trusted Las Vegas to be a home for professional teams, and you have answered the call, and the players have answered the call, and the coaches have answered the call. But in order to move forward with everything we've already done successfully, my people of Las Vegas, Nevada, we're going to get one of the worst Major League Baseball teams that barely wins and has almost no people showing up to the game, and we are going to bring them here. Crickets. It doesn't make sense to what Vegas is doing. What makes sense to what Vegas is doing is, hey, we're going to put down $100 million and we're going to go buy this and that. We're going to build this and do that. We're going to put a new team in here. I can see
They should literally buy the team.
I can see Vegas saying to the A's, we thought about it, and we're going to build something from the ground up. Y'all do you, we're going to do us.
The only way it makes sense for the A's to go to Vegas is logistically because of the fans. They have the Oakland Raiders. It makes sense for them to get the Oakland A's as well. That's the only way it makes sense. However, that team is run so poorly. It is by far the worst organization in baseball. I mean, look at what the White Sox are doing. That team's not run all that well.
No.
And they're the worst team in baseball right now. But the A's are the worst run organization in all of it. The A's are to baseball what the Washington ridiculously overpriced tickets so nobody goes to the games.
Yeah.
I mean, the A's have lowered their prices because they can't get anybody to go to the game. The problem is unless the A's sell the team, unless the owners of the A's sell the team, they're not going anywhere. But people forget the A's have a rich history. I'm pretty sure they have 11 championships. Actually, let me double check that. They may not have that many. Let me double check that. Let's see. 9. They have 9 World Series championships.
Yeah.
9 championships. 1910, 1911, 1913, 1929, 1930 when they were in Philly. 72, 73, 74 when they were the best team in baseball for that half-decade stretch. And then 1989. The year of the earthquake when they played the Giants. That organization has so much history that is being ruined by the worst owner in baseball. I want somebody who is an Oakland A's fan that has been a fan their whole life, that's got stupid money, to walk up into the owner's boxes, into the owner's office, and tell him, "Listen, I am buying this team from you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you $2 billion to get the hell out of here, and I'm gonna take over everything, and I'm gonna make this team a championship contender." I want to see that happen because A's fans deserve better. Do you remember last year when they did the what was it? The reverse boycott?
Yeah.
When they packed the stadium for that one day?
Yeah.
35,000 strong. And the A's won. Team won. The players love that. Why can't we have more of that?
Yeah.
It's one thing for your team to suck. It's another thing for your team to be run by a moron that has no business running a baseball team. Why do you think Billy Beane got the hell out of there?
Yeah.
That team, the A's at the end basically killed Billy Beane. I mean, God rest his soul. I know he only died a few days ago, so I feel horrible for him, but they basically killed Billy Beane. I mean, I feel so bad for A's fans, man. I don't know any A's fans, but I feel so bad for them. Because most of those A's fans that are about to lose their team also lost their NFL team.
Yeah.
To Vegas.
Yeah.
This is not how it was meant to be. I know we need teams we need to put teams in Vegas. Vegas is a city that needed sports teams.
Right. Or are people just running out of California because they know that they have bad policies?
I mean, maybe. But I mean, why didn't we put expansion teams there?
Yeah.
Then Vegas Golden Knights were an expansion team.
Uh-huh.
The NFL might be looking to expand at some point here soon. Right?
The question
Why
is,
do we
though,
have to
like,
move? Why do we have to move teams from where their fans are?
well, here's my
I don't
thing.
get. I never understood that. St.
Yeah.
Louis Rams go to L.A. and then they win a championship.
Yeah.
St. Louis is left with nothing.
But think about what happened to the Cleveland Browns when they became the Baltimore Ravens, and the Baltimore Ravens won a championship.
2 years later,
the Cleveland Browns fans said, so is this our championship or is it not? Because this is the Browns franchise. Because keep in mind, folks, just to confuse you, and this is not me doing it, this is professional sports doing this. The old Cleveland Browns are the Baltimore Ravens, and the new Cleveland Browns that came back in '99 are not the old Cleveland Browns. So
even though they kept all the history of the original Cleveland Browns.
So yeah,
because the Browns were technically the expansion team, but they kept their history.
Right. Here's the thing.
So the Ravens were essentially the expansion team, but they were the team that moved from Cleveland to Baltimore.
Right. So the old Cleveland Browns are the Baltimore Ravens. The new Cleveland Browns are not that Baltimore Ravens team. So that team wins a Super Bowl, but it's not their Super Bowl. It's Baltimore's Super Bowl. But the Cleveland Browns in '99 go back to their history before they became the Baltimore Ravens and connect all that history with the gap in between where the Super Bowl happened. But it's two different franchises because it's the same franchise, but it's not. And it's the same thing that happened in Charlotte. The Charlotte Hornets left Charlotte. They went down, or pardon me, the Charlotte Hornets became the Charlotte Bobcats. This is where I gotta go.
Yeah.
The Charlotte
Hornets became the Bobcats.
So the Hornets became the Bobcats. Then they brought the Hornets back in New Orleans. So they became the New Orleans Hornets. So I'm sorry. Let me do this right. The Charlotte Hornets, the Hornets left Charlotte because apparently they weren't getting enough support. They left Charlotte, North Carolina. They went to New Orleans, Louisiana. So the Hornets franchise left. Charlotte didn't have a franchise. Charlotte, which typically happens with places, loses their mind over, we don't have a team. You didn't go to the games because people get lax sometimes, and I'm not trying to knock Charlotte because I love the city of Charlotte. People know I love the Queen City. I'm using Charlotte as an example. So Charlotte, go with me on this and understand I love and respect you. When you take something away from somebody, they didn't go to a game, right? I'm going to go to a game, I'm going to go to a game, I'm going to go to a game. Team's gone. What the hell? I want my team back. Almost as soon as they left for New Orleans, the fans were clamoring, going, well, what do you mean we don't have an NBA team? So then they gave them the expansion Bobcats. Then Katrina happened. New Orleans went to Oklahoma City. Then they went back to New Orleans. Then the Charlotte Bobcats said, we don't want to be the Bobcats. People don't like the Bobcats. They never embraced the Bobcats. So they take the Hornets name back. New Orleans becomes the Pelicans, and the Seattle Supersonics go to Oklahoma City because during Katrina, Oklahoma City proved that when they had the New Orleans Hornets, they could hold the team. So think about how crazy this is. It starts with the Charlotte Hornets, which ends up turning into the Charlotte Bobcats, the New Orleans Pelicans, and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Seattle loses their team to Oklahoma City. New Orleans changes to the Pelicans. Charlotte gets back the Hornets, but had none of that history in New Orleans or Oklahoma City. However, to somebody waking up today, they think the Charlotte Hornets were always the Charlotte Hornets and the Hornets never left Charlotte. That's how confusing sports is.
I know it. It'll be like when the Montreal Expos come back with the next round of MLB expansion. You're going to have the Montreal Expos, and then you're probably going to have, I wouldn't be shocked if they put a team in Puerto Rico. I wouldn't be shocked if they put a team in Oklahoma City. There's other places you can absolutely put a team. You could put a team in Portland. You could put a team somewhere in the Carolinas. You could put a team in, I would think it'd be cool to see a team in Iowa play at the Field of Dreams every day. And they actually build out a big stadium there. Like make it bigger than it already was. Yeah. I think that'd be pretty cool, but I know that'll never happen because they want to have the Field of Dreams game every year. But yeah, that I don't know, man. I'm just so frustrated with the A's franchise and how they've run their team to the point where they're not even going to be in Oakland anymore.
Yeah.
It wouldn't shock me if the team that goes to Vegas takes a different name, and then the Oakland A's come back with new ownership that actually knows how to run a team. Because you know damn well, just because the A's are going to Vegas doesn't mean they're going to spend any money. It's going to be the same story. It's going to be horrible. So, maybe we see another team in Oakland at some point. Maybe we won't. Who knows? But I'm sick and tired of watching what's happening out there. And, every baseball fan across America feels horrible for the A's fans. Because they know they're losing their team. Not only are they losing their team, their owner's a cheapskate that won't spend any money, and yet he's going to move the team to Vegas. Tell me how that makes sense. It doesn't. It literally doesn't.
Yeah.
So they'll go to Vegas. Who knows? Baseball will have expansion here at some point in the next half decade. I think. I firmly believe by 2030 we will have expansion teams, and we will be at 32. It's just a matter of, who it is. And then we're either going to go to 2 divisions in each league or 4 divisions in each league.
Yeah. I know who it's going to be. Major League Baseball is going to...
Montreal will be one of them. I can tell you. I can promise you that. The Montreal Expos will come back.
Major League Baseball is going to expand, and they will be taking Alabama and Georgia. So that's what's going to happen. The college football playoff and Major League Baseball will find it now. So, actually, if the NFL does expand, they might as well just take part of the SEC.
I know. I mean, I still think the SEC would get their butts kicked by any NFL team. I think that's a terrible argument to think that the best college football team can beat the worst NFL team.
I'm joking about college football playoff
college
football expansion, but I have never gone on record saying that a college team would beat a professional team. Because,
I know you have it, but there are plenty of people that have said that.
Right.
Like, you remember a couple years ago when the Browns were terrible, and everyone was like, "Oh, Alabama could beat the Browns." Like, yeah right.
Because they call it like they call the SEC like the NFL Light or the NFL farm system or something like that. But here's the thing. So to get back to baseball for a second before we jump off of it, the baseball world. And it's interesting that you bring this up today, that you are talking about expansion. Because the Montreal Expos, who became the Washington Nationals,
yes,
and by the way, if people wonder why their tickets are so expensive for the Commanders, it's because inflation. So, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding. But
they are also looking to build a new stadium, so that's probably part of it.
Yeah, let's jack up the prices. But when you look at... And Jaden Daniels, I think, is going to be the best thing that's happened to the Washington Commanders quarterback-wise in over a decade easily. So when we look at baseball, and I find it interesting that you talk about Montreal coming back, is it seems like that would be like a warm and fuzzy feeling for baseball fans.
It's the obvious choice.
Not just for Montreal, not just for former Expo players, but it seems like if Montreal came back to Major League Baseball, that like people in general would be like, that's great. It's such like a success story. And I remember the Montreal logo, and there's I don't know.
Their jerseys were sick.
Right. But to me, it's just...
Their baby blue jerseys in the 80s were freaking awesome.
I think there's a warm and fuzzy feeling, and I don't think it's just going to come from Expo fans. I don't think it's just going to come from Montreal and Canada. I think it's going to come from baseball fans in general are going to be really excited to see Montreal come back. I'm actually going to put that poll up on X, the former Twitter @CalledET. How likely do you believe that Montreal will get a team back in Major League Baseball? We're going to put that poll up. We're going to take a step aside. Y'all are great for voting in our polls. You vote in them all the time. Thank you so much across so many different sports and topics. So X @CalledET, that's CALLDT, and go there now. Vote in the poll. We're going to put it up on the break inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Murph and I are going to be back. We're going to talk about the NFL preseason, and we're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers and some things that he said right after this. Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the tastes of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there's something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in 2007, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There's a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really change the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allowing customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servamation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machines, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean-to-cup coffee machines. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're hanging out with you inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Heritage Hill, there for you in the country and the city. You'll find them out at the Brew House in Pompey, 3149 Suite Road in Pompey, New York, and you will find them at their newest location at Heritage Hill North on 628 South Main Street at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse. You can see both of their logos behind us, and we appreciate everything that Dan Palladino and the team are doing out at Heritage Hill, so go out and visit them today. DT and Murphy coming to you to start off your weeks on Wake Up Call every Monday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We were talking about baseball, now we're switching gears to football, staying on the field, but switching fields, and I put up the poll during the break as promised on X. Go and follow us there and vote. The former Twitter, X, at CallDT, that's CALLDT. The question, do you believe Montreal will bring back the Expos if and when Major League Baseball expands? Early voting, 66.7% of you say yes. 33.3% of you say no. So you have agreed with Murph that you believe baseball will find its way back to Montreal and the Expos will return to Major League Baseball. Getting into the football side of things, Aaron Rodgers says that there's something he regrets. We're going to get into what he had to say here. 3 years after he told reporters he was, quote-unquote, immunized against the COVID-19 virus, the quarterback says in a soon-to-be-published unauthorized biography that he should have been truthful about his status. Rodgers, who previously said the controversy had a dramatic impact on his public image, told author Ian O'Connor that the primary reason he claimed he was quote-unquote immunized was this statement represented the crux of my appeal. If there's one thing I wish I could have done different, it's that, because that's the only thing critics could hit me with, end quote, he said in a book. In November 2021, the Green Bay Packers quarterback at the time, tested positive for COVID-19 as an unvaccinated player and was sidelined for a minimum of 10 days. Roger had appealed to the NFL to have his homeopathic treatment regimen qualify him as vaccinated and faced widespread criticism for his misleading remarks. He was turned down 3 months earlier at a widely reported preseason news conference. He told the reporters he had been quote-unquote immunized and was heavily criticized by fans and much of the media. Rodgers later said on Pat McAfee's show that his research showed he was allergic to an ingredient, which was polyethylene glycol, or PEG, in the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines, and that he was concerned about reports of adverse medical reactions to the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. He said, quote, "But if I could do it again, I would have said in August, F the appeal. I'm just going to tell them I'm allergic to PEG. I'm not getting Johnson & Johnson. I'm not going to be vaxxed," end quote, is what the quarterback said here. Now, Rodgers told Ian O'Connor this statement represented his appeal to the league. He said, quote, "I had an immunization card from my holistic doctor, which looked similar. I wasn't trying to pawn it off as a vaccine card, but I said, listen, here's my protocol. Here's what you can follow to look this up." And it was an ongoing appeal. So if I had just said I was unvaccinated in the moment, there's no chance that the appeal would have been handled the exact same way, end quote. Asked if he would have gotten vaccinated had a local mandate sidelined him like New York's had sidelined then Brooklyn Nets Kyrie Irving, he said, quote, "I wouldn't have done it," end quote. Rodgers is now other new reporting in the book include new details about the near decade-long estrangement between Rodgers and his family, including interviews with the quarterback, his parents, his grandmother, and other relatives. It also includes a look at the role in the family dynamics played by actor and former Rodgers girlfriend Olivia Munn, and the story of the recent first step Rodgers and his father made toward a reconciliation, with a brief but meaningful expression of love last summer that compelled Rodgers to say he wanted to reestablish a relationship with his dad. The book will also include the story of Edward Rodgers, Aaron's paternal grandfather and a decorated World War II combat pilot who completed 43 successful missions against Hitler's war machine before being shot down, captured, and beaten as a prisoner of war. I'm going to take a moment of silence for that. And God bless to Edward Rodgers. On St. Patrick's Day 1944, Edward Rodgers saved his crew of 10 men in their burning, bullet-ridden B-24 by somehow flying it back to his base in Italy. Rodgers recalled that he was piloting his damaged plane, quote, "all alone over Germany. It was the loneliest feeling in the world," end quote. They will also include why Rodgers was upset by Packers coach Mike McCarthy during his most devastating defeat, the 2014 NFC Championship game collapse at Seattle. Rodgers wanted to call 6 plays he had seen on film that seemed indefensible, end quote. When Dallas beat the Seahawks in the regular season, one veteran Packers player said Rodgers, quote, "wanted those plays called over and over against Seattle, and McCarthy called only a few of them, one time each," end quote. And also being included is then San Francisco 49ers coach Mike Nolan, who drafted Alex Smith instead of Rodgers with the first overall pick in 2005, is still bothered, end quote, by that his offensive coordinator McCarthy benefited most from that decision. Quote, "McCarthy had a lot to do with picking the other one, Smith, and in the end he got the one Rodgers that he didn't pick, and it elevated his career," end quote, is what Nolan said in the book. And finally, a look at the much-discussed text to ESPN senior NFL insider Adam Schefter, who was seeking confirmation that he was being dealt to the Jets in 2023. Rodgers told Schefter, quote, "lose my number, good try though," end quote. Later at the owners' meetings, Packers general manager Brian Gutekunst, whose repeated messages to Rodgers had gone unreturned, told people, quote, at least Adam got a response from him," end quote. So the book is supposed to be coming out shortly from Ian O'Connor. I want to thank ESPN for their coverage of this and breaking everything down. But your thoughts that Aaron Rodgers was trying to appeal being kept out of the NFL due to testing positive for COVID-19. We know that Rodgers is someone who believes in other ways of dealing with things. He has come out pretty clearly about not having to get vaccinated with the COVID-19 vaccine, be it Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson. So your thoughts, Murph, on the fact that a book's coming out on a lot of things about Aaron Rodgers, maybe to clear the table here and show the truth, and also in the sense that Aaron Rodgers is regretful that he said that he was immunized when he wasn't.
I think that's the main thing that I have an issue with, was when he said he was, but he wasn't. Like, why lie about that?
Because he was trying to get back in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Right? I am one that wasn't necessarily against the vaccine.
Yeah.
I got very sick after the second shot that they claim like, oh, get these boosters, get these boosters. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I got so sick after the second shot. I'm not doing that again. I mean, I never get flu shots. I never get I don't get shots. Like
Yeah.
I don't go get a flu shot every year. I'm not going to get a COVID shot again. Like I don't I don't really get sick, and when I do, it's just like even when I had COVID, it was just I had the sniffles and I felt a little bit tired. That was it. I had the flu and it was worse. I've had the flu once in my life. I've got 2 flu shots in my life.
Yeah.
One was the swine flu shot, and the other one was I got a flu shot the year after I had the flu. That's it.
Yeah.
I never get that. So I'm not all that concerned about it. Rogers has his way of dealing with things, and it is what it is, but I'm also against anybody that would ridicule him for not being vaccinated.
It's supposed to be a
Right?
choice, right? It's supposed to be a choice.
Mm-hmm. And this goes back to the arguments that we had with people during the pandemic. People scream, my body, my choice when it comes to abortions, and that's all well and good. But when I scream my body, my choice, that I don't want to take a vaccine, you're getting on me for that.
Yeah.
It's a double standard.
Yeah.
I can't stand that. I can't stand the people that will scream it for one thing and then say, you have to take this vaccine.
But is not hypocrisy a part of the lay of the land for America lately?
I think it's the lay of the land for one side.
That people will yell and scream and cry and be offended and frustrated and hurt and triggered, but they can yell and scream and slander and libel and berate people. I find it very hard to feel sad for a person who says, don't call me a duty head, and then is F this, F that, and wishing bad on your family and screaming in your face and spitting on you and yelling at you. And, you know, if you tell me that you don't want something done to you and you do it to me, you've not only opened the green light for me to do it to you, but a hypocrite is something that I won't allow in my life. And hypocrisy is all over the place right now. And listen, the vaccine, the concern about it, what really concerned me, and my mom and I ended up getting a shot eventually, but what we did was we waited. I waited a very long time. Now, my mom doesn't like shots. Shots make her nervous.
Who does?
She gets nauseous, and she doesn't like needles. So I waited with my mom. The only reason why we got a shot is that we were going to Florida, and I was concerned traveling, and I was trying to think. My dad had already gotten one; he had already made the decision, and he got it a lot sooner than we did. But my mom and I got it in just because we were traveling, honestly. And I wanted to make sure she was okay. My concern, and we both ended up getting COVID at one point, but my concern is, and I'm never going to forget this, when people in the medical field, now you can be on any side of the political coin, but this is not a political thing. In the medical field, when nurses are willing to lose their jobs because they're being threatened by their bosses, if you do not get this shot, if you do not allow us to put this thing in your body that you do not believe is maybe safe. And that was the concern that some people had in the medical field. They said, we don't know what's in here. It's been rushed. We don't know if it's safe. We don't know the lasting effects of it. We don't know what's going to happen down the road. And there were people that were fired because they refused to do a voluntary vaccine. There were people that were literally pushed out of their careers. Now, again, to this day, the government calls it a voluntary vaccine. But if you are being fired, it is not a voluntary vaccine. And I'm not going to name the university, but there is a university of teams that I cover that sent us a really wonderful email, and I'm going to paraphrase, but they said, you don't have to get the vaccine. If you don't get it, you're not allowed to cover any of our teams. You're not even allowed to be on our campus. So you don't have to get it, but if you don't get it, you cannot get a credential and you cannot do your job. So do whatever you want because we support your choice, but if you choose not to do it, you'll be punished. And so in my life, I was told that a voluntary vaccine was involuntary. And in the life of a lot of nurses and people in the medical field, they were told the same thing. So my concern is if we find out down the road this sterilizes people, if we find out down the road there's Parkinson's. I had a friend come down with a unique disease, and I believe it was after, and he was a healthy he totally healthy from what I could see. I still think back on that moment and say to myself, did that come from that? Now, if it did, they're not going to take credit for it. But my question that comes to people who think that unvaccinated people are crazy and they're insane and they're conspiracy theorists, my question back to you is, would you consider an entire wing of nurses in an ICU to be insane, crazy conspiracy theorists? Or would you consider them to be probably the best people at, if they say, I don't know, like if someone in the FDA, in the Food and Drug Administration, if someone from the FDA goes, I don't really know if you should have that chicken that's out in your grocery store right now. If they say it, I'm going to listen. If Bob down the street says it, I might be a little bit like skeptical, or maybe like, I don't know, or maybe I should, or maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I'll stay away from it for a week because why would Bob say that to me? Bob's never said anything crazy to me. So if Bob says it down the street, I might think about it. If the FDA tells me, don't eat the chicken right now, I'm not going to eat the chicken. I still remember that they told us that the spinach that came into Wegmans may or may not have some issue with it. I, to this day, years later, I don't think I've bought spinach from Wegmans since that was said years ago. And I'm not trying to knock Wegmans. Wherever it came from, there was something about it. And I haven't bought spinach from Wegmans since. I don't know if I've ever bought spinach from Wegmans. So when it comes down to if the FDA is saying it about food, if nurses are saying it about vaccines, I think we need to take away this whole conspiracy theorist, crazy people putting aluminum foil cones on their heads to try and keep the aliens away. If Aaron Rodgers, because people treated him like he was crazy, and people still treat him like he's crazy because he didn't want to get vaccinated. My concern with this world is, like you said, my body, my choice. So when a woman says my body, my choice, she can do whatever she wants with the living, breathing thing inside of her body. And I agree with Chris Rock is that it's murder no matter how you look at it. Now,
agreed.
In the same, because you can't murder something that's not alive. When you have to stop the heartbeat of something, you're admitting that's alive. So when the argument is it's not a living, breathing thing, well, if you're killing it, then it is. You don't kill something that's not alive. That seems like a very basic common knowledge argument. So Chris Rock said, Chris Rock's in his special, he said, I'm okay with you doing whatever you want to do, ladies, as long as you know that it's murder. Now, so, because they cheered at first, and then he said that, and then people were like, oh, but here's my thing. My body, my choice. You're killing a baby no matter how old it is. My body, my choice for the vaccine, it should be the same thing because it's your body, right? We're making a choice on a vaccine. We're making a choice on pregnancy. We're making a choice on this, that, and the third. I don't think it's fair for people to have an argument, to your point, and then say that the argument doesn't count somewhere else. A totally voluntary vaccine was politicized, and it was used as a political engine, and it was pushed on people, forced upon athletes, forced upon coaches, forced upon media members like myself. It was forced upon us. When a school tells you you don't have to get the vaccine, but if you don't get the vaccine, you're not even allowed to step on campus, let alone cover our team. That is a forcible thing that you are pushing me to do. And I think that this world needs to understand that, and they need to be a little bit concerned by that, because if we're being forced to do something, then what does that say about my body, my choice? Is it necessarily your choice? It's not. And my mother was afraid, and my mother got sick for 3 days after she got the shot. I was sick for a day and a half. I had to lay in bed all day on a Saturday with that feeling of like, that feeling when you know a fever's coming. And, you know, we laid in bed. But ultimately, if we find out 4, 5, 10, 20 years down the road that the COVID shot leads to Parkinson's, and 13% of the people that got the shot may get Parkinson's, you know, what are we going to do about it then? Are we going to apologize to people that of something that we can't fix? So I think that what really spoke to me, and this is not me being conspiracy theorist, but I know people will twist my words around, because if you don't just blanket statement say that you're for vaccines, you're somehow a conspiracy theorist. Nothing should be forced upon you. And I don't get the flu shot. And something inside of me told me, when my girlfriend at the time was getting the flu shot, she's like, do you want to get it with me? And I was thinking about getting it, and I sat there, and something in my gut, and when I go against my gut, I'm always wrong. Something in my gut was like, do whatever you want to do, just don't get this shot. And she got the shot, and she got ill right after. And to this day, I'm so grateful that I listened to my gut. But, you know, I think that Aaron Rodgers has been attacked, and he has been called a crazy person and a conspiracy theorist and whatever you want to say, when he's literally just said, like, my body, my choice, and I choose not to. But men are not allowed to use the statement, my body, my choice, and people are not allowed to not get a voluntary vaccine. And when nurses walk out of places willing to lose their job, and an entire unit is gone, so they can't even, like, in some hospitals, they couldn't even have babies born in the hospital because there's nobody in the unit. Why was a hospital willing to lose all of their workers in one unit based on a voluntary thing?
Makes no sense. And realistically, I wish I didn't get the vaccine. I really do. The only reason I got it was in part because my dad was in the group that could potentially die from this thing, right? The people that have had heart issues or had
Pre-existing.
he had a mini stroke he had a mini stroke like 5 or 6 years ago. 6 years ago. That made him susceptible to this thing.
Yeah.
He is the reason I got the shot. Had he not done that, I never would have gotten the vaccine.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, this is not, us being anti-vax.
No.
It was anti-this vax.
Yeah.
I'm all for like the polio shot and chicken pot and the measles and all the shots that you're supposed to get when when you're an infant before you go to school. It's because those diseases had an extremely high mortality rate when they were prevalent in this world. COVID's mortality rate was like less than 1%.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here? I would take my chances on that. Polio, different story.
Yeah.
There's people that still there's somebody, I believe, in this world that still lives on the iron lung because they had polio.
Yeah.
That is different. Measles, German measles is different. Those other diseases that you get vaccinated for as an infant, that is different.
Did you realize not everybody that they said died from COVID actually died from COVID?
No kidding.
So
people would have a heart attack in the hospital. COVID.
Yeah.
People would somebody come in and got shot. COVID.
Well, they said in Syracuse.
Somebody comes in and had a stroke. COVID.
They said in Syracuse there was a stab victim, and they said that if they claimed at the hospital that it was COVID, that the hospital would get more money.
Yeah.
So you got
exactly.
stab victims in the hospital that were being recorded as COVID. By the way, when they say that all these millions of people died, does anybody call like BS on that? Because I feel like we're still like very populated in the United States of America. Like, I think there's a lot.
There's more people that are being born than are dying. I mean, that's just the statistical average across the world.
I mean, on the local level, I feel like Syracuse, like seemingly within the last few months, got some influx. There's so many people on the road right now, and I look around and I'm like, okay, it's the summer. Let's see if this dies down in a few weeks. But there's so many people. But my thing is, when we hear a number, right, and someone says it, we go, no, that's got to be wrong. And then when we hear a number that somebody else says, we go, oh, that's got to be right, because the media is telling you who's right and who's wrong. But the reality of it all is, how do we know any of this stuff? The only thing that we know, COVID-19 is real. It is a form of the flu, or whatever the hell you want to call it. People did get sick, and most people went through it and got better. I had a cousin that almost died. Annette, I am so happy that you're here. She was on a ventilator. She was in a hospital. She had pre-existing issues that were, making this potentially worse. They told her kids to make preparations. They left her on the ventilator, and the doctor said, like, it's up to her now. She's alive and well, by the grace of God, and I thank God for that every single day. She's home. She's good. I've seen her plenty of times. So it is a very real thing. The issue is when you rush a vaccine, especially from companies, drug companies that make a lot of money and maybe politically have some connections, there's the reality of how safe is this. And like I tell people, my only argument to end all arguments, I shouldn't say my only argument, but my argument to end all arguments is, if a group of nurses are willing to lose their job, saying you don't have to get it, and then he says, but if you don't get it, I'm firing every single one of you, and they're willing to walk out, that was the thing where, because I was like, okay, maybe I should get this vaccine. And then when I saw that, I was like, uh-oh. And I've heard from multiple people in multiple places of people in the medical field saying, I'm not for it. I didn't get it. I still didn't get it. I dated a girl that was living on Long Island. And she's like, I didn't get it, and my sister didn't get it, because we have friends that are in the medical field, and our friends were like, we don't really know what's in this thing yet, and we're not clear on it. So the suggestion was like, if you get it, it's a big old question mark, and maybe it's good and maybe it's bad, but we don't really know. So, I feel like we need to kind of pump the brakes here, because, and also when musical artists and actors are telling me to go get a vaccine, and they're singing about it and they're doing commercials about it, now you've even more so got me nervous, because now essentially what you're doing is you're saying, do you like this singer? Well, get the vaccine. How do you even know that they got it? But when we start promoting vaccines like they're candy bars, Murph, that's where I get a little concerned.
I was so sick to death about that whole vax and COVID. Like, I'm still pissed about how it started.
And didn't they admit that it started in China? Didn't they finally say it started in China? Yet they're mad about
after we've known that for freaking 4 years.
Right, but the guy that said that it started in China got chastised for saying it started in China, but it started in China. And now we know it started in China. Who's apologizing?
It started in a lab in Wuhan, China.
Yeah.
It was not let out intentionally, but it was let out into the rest of the world intentionally. Yeah. They did not contain it.
Yeah.
It was an accident. It was an accident that it got out in the first place, but they should have done more to actually contain the thing.
Yeah.
China started a pandemic. That's all it is.
Very successful.
And yeah. not to take it away, nothing against the people there. Their government it's a communist country. We see what happens with communism. There are people in America that want to turn America into a socialist country, which then leads to communism.
Yeah.
Do you want to be like Cuba? Do you want to be like China?
Venezuela?
Do you want to be like Russia or in the old Soviet Union?
Yeah.
No. America was built to be the land of the free and the home of the brave. That is what our forefathers fought for. Mm-hmm. Right? And anybody that disagrees with that is crazy. They want equality for everybody. Okay, there's a difference between equality and equity. Right?
Yeah.
We were not meant to be fully equal. Some people are going to be rich. Some people are going to be poor. Some people are black. Some people are white. That doesn't mean that we're different. We're all people.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different economic status. Everybody has different backgrounds. Everybody has they speak different languages. They eat different foods. They like different things. Equality is not how we solve problems in America. We solve problems in America by talking things out. These people that want equality will scream at you if you don't. You need to have conversations about these things. That's why if you ever see Charlie Kirk come across your Instagram or your TikTok feed or whatever, he's just sitting there having conversations with people and he's being chastised for it. Yeah. Ben Shapiro does the same thing. Candace Owens does the same thing. Vivek in the beginning of his campaign was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Vivek, I think, is the best at it because I think Vivek was really good at actually talking to the other side and getting them to have a conversation. But that's the hardest part, is they won't talk unless you agree with them.
Yeah.
I'll talk to anybody. You and I agree on the whole on abortion, right? I do firmly believe in the three exceptions, as do most sane people.
Yeah.
Cases of rape, incest, and the life of the mother.
Right. Yeah.
That is more than okay. But if you don't want to have a child, there are plenty of families that can't have a child.
Yeah.
And then to get off that topic, you talk about, people talk about systemic racism in America and everything. Like, what can I do that someone that's black can't? Nothing.
Right.
Literally nothing.
Right.
Hell, what's the thing they put in place for that makes you put what your race is, and they make and
affirmative action?
Thank you. Affirmative action.
Yeah.
That actually makes it harder for white people to get anything. Because they want to have, black people and Asian people and Hispanic people and people of all different, you want to have a wide variety. Okay.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't matter what someone looks like or what their background is, especially when it comes to entry into college or for a job.
Yeah.
The best candidate should get in, or the best candidate should get the job.
Yeah. Always.
Martin Luther King died for that. He is rolling over in his grave looking at what is happening in America right now. He wanted his kids to be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. That doesn't happen in America today.
No.
People are praised just for being black. People are praised just for being Hispanic. People are praised just for being white. It doesn't matter. People praise you for whatever.
Right.
Kamala Harris was the first Indian senator, and now she's the first black vice president. Last time I checked, people from India are not black. People from India are Indian.
But the thing
people from Africa are black.
Right. And the thing is, and as somebody who's Italian and Hispanic, I didn't want to be judged on that. I didn't want to. Now, I didn't know. I didn't know until later that I was Hispanic. Nobody told me in my family. My grandmother eventually told me when I was 14, and I was sad that people hadn't told me. I thought I was 100% Italian. I couldn't believe that it wasn't shared with me that we have Spanish roots. And, I do, when you look up Hispanic, it's any Spanish speaking culture. Spain is a Spanish speaking culture, because some people are, because there's rudeness that comes within, and it's not even coming from the Hispanic community. It comes, some of it, I guess, but some of it coming from the outside. And I just had this conversation recently. I was like, I'm Hispanic. They're like, no, you're not. You're from Spain. You're not Hispanic. And I said, it's any Spanish speaking culture. South America speaks Spanish because Spain invaded years ago. And so for someone to go, if you're not from Latin America and you're not from South America, you're not Hispanic. And then there's like this segregation and this pushing out. I said, wait a minute, I'm proud to be Hispanic. I'm proud to be connected to Spain and Guatemala and Peru. I'm proud to have that connection, and people are trying to take my heritage away from me. So, please understand, folks, like that stuff happens in so many different ways, and it happens where people tell you who you are. And I had a conversation with somebody about this recently that was like, you're not Hispanic, you're Spanish, and like you can't say you're this, you're that. And I'm getting segregated by someone who, to me, I'm like, how can you take away my culture? How can you take away the things that matter to me? I have always been a person that's been open. When I was a little kid, it was not normal in the 80s and the 90s for a child who's not black to associate with a child who is black. And you may not believe this, but it wasn't. People might think, oh, that was the fort. No. In the 80s and in the 90s, it wasn't normal. And there, on my grandmother's street, on my dad's mom, there was only one house that asked me to play basketball. And it was two African-American brothers. And they asked me to play with them. And I said, yeah. And I'll never forget the car that drove by really, really slow. It was a white man. And he looked at me and he looked at them and he gave me a look and he gave them a look that was menacing. And it was only because we were playing basketball together, like it wasn't supposed to be happening. And, I remember playing a flag football game with a guy who was playing the game with us, and his color doesn't matter in what he said, but he had a lot of anti-gay conversation. And my cousin, who's like a little brother to me, he stuck up for the gay community. I stuck up for the gay community. I'm not gay. And, there was a woman that I dated that I brought to senior prom. And there was a guy that was really vile in my high school. And he was a dirtbag. I don't know if he's still a dirtbag. I hope he's not. But he was a dirtbag back then. And he said some really, really horrible things about her. And he attacked a woman who was defenseless. And I stuck up for her. I stuck up for her in a place where we could have ended up getting in a huge fight physically. And I'll never forget, he said some really horrible things that I'm not going to say on my family show. And I am not a person to be violent. And I wasn't violent. I was clear. I put him up against the locker in gym class, and I said, this is as nice as I'm going to be from here on out. Do we understand each other? And he didn't talk to me for the rest of that senior year. And I had a friend tell me, they're like, that he really respects you now. He didn't respect you before, but he respects you now. I was like, I don't want his respect. His respect doesn't mean anything. The respect of a dirtbag is not worth any more than the soil that he is living on. I mean, to me, in what world do I care about his respect? He respects me because I stuck up for a woman that he said terrible things about? I don't respect that man. And to this day, I hope he's a changed man. I hope he's a better man. But I have no desire to be his friend. And it's not because I'm holding a grudge. It's just, I don't associate with that. I mean, there's people that sat in front of me and said the N-word. And they said it confidently and they didn't care. I've had multiple people say it in front of me. And one of the guys that he said it about is one of my really good friends. And this friend has always been there for me. He's always been by my side. He's an awesome, awesome guy, but I would have treated this way if he was a total stranger. And he had a great conversation with him for 20 minutes, and I sat there thinking, wow, I think this guy's changed. He just sat down with someone who's African-American, and he said the N-word before, and now that he sat with him, I feel like he's changed. That gentleman, who is my friend, didn't get 3 steps away from him, and he said the N-word again. He said, just so you know, don't ever let me sit with an N again. I'm in a diner where people know me, and they're going to talk about this. And I remember looking at him going, that is not his name. And I said, if you want me to go get him, I can go get him. No, 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 no. I said, no, no, no. That's what you refer to him as. He thinks that you guys just had a good exchange, and now you're talking behind his back when he's right at the door. Let me go get him so that you can have a conversation with him. I have not sat down to break bread with that man. My friend and I, we're still friends. I love him. But that dude, when he's like, why don't I see you anymore? You don't see me anymore because you're a bigot. You don't see me anymore because you're racist. That's why you don't see me. So, to me, to your point, Murph, you don't have to be the color. See, what people don't get is the media is trying to divide you because it's easy to conquer you when you're divided. And when there's a political machine to divide people and you're stupid enough to follow it, and then you look around and realize we all want the same thing. Why did I listen to this? But it could be too late. I'm trying to keep you from letting it be too late. You don't have to be black to support the black community. You don't have to be a woman to support women. You don't have to be a man to support men. You don't have to be Hispanic to support Hispanics. But I will tell people this. You do not have a right to come into somebody's life and tell them who they are and who they aren't. And when somebody comes to me and goes, you're not Hispanic, you're Spanish, you can't associate yourself with the Hispanic culture. You can't be a part of the Hispanic culture. You're trying to ostracize me from something that I feel a part of. And you're trying to tell me that I'm not. And to me, and then in that same realm, you're telling me that I'm the bigot. You're telling me that I'm the closed-minded person. I can sit down and have a conversation with anybody. And I had a recent conversation with someone that is way on the other side. But I had the conversation calmly. During the conversation, I was called an extremist because I believe in God. I was called an extremist. Now keep in mind, I talk to people that have all different beliefs. I have friends that are Jewish that are some of my closest friends in the world. And I've talked to people and I've dated people that don't have any faith. I was called an extremist for my faith. And I was told that I'm not allowed to say that I was told that I'm not Hispanic. So from someone who is on the other side that's supposed to be loving, caring, and accepting of all, I was called a name and ostracized from my own culture. Tell me how that makes sense.
It doesn't. It. One of the things that I find crazy, like what you said, like people call you're not Hispanic, you're Spanish. If you said Latino, okay.
Right, I'm not
justified.
Right.
But you're exactly. Let's differ. Literally. That is what it means. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if we want to be technical, Hispaniola, which I guess you could argue if you want to say Hispanic is Haiti and the Dominican Republic. So that if people are going to say that, it's like, well, you're not Hispanic either. You're not from Haiti or the Dominican Republic. Right? You're not Hispanic. Right? Like, that makes no sense. So, I'm completely with you on that. It would be like someone trying to tell me that I'm not Italian. Right? Yes, I am extremely Irish. But I've also got Italian in there.
Right.
I got family on my mom's dad's side is from Italy. Like, from, I don't know where in Italy, but I know they're from Italy.
Yeah.
But it's like the same thing. But, kind of going back to your story, I think that's a good point. It's like they talk behind their backs about whatever.
Yeah.
I don't see, and I'm sure you're the same way. I don't see the color of somebody's skin. I couldn't care less.
Right.
If you're a jerk no matter what you look like.
Amen.
If you're a good person, you're a good person no matter what you look like.
Amen.
If you piss me off, I don't give a crap what you look like. We might throw hands if that's the case. Right? But if you're a nice person, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't care what you look like.
Yeah.
It shouldn't matter what you look like. The people that are the true ones that do judge by the color of somebody's skin are the ones that will say you are a white supremacist for voting for somebody for president. You don't know me. I don't know you.
Yeah.
How can you say that I am that? Right? These are the same people that think that Black people can't get an ID to go vote. New York City, I don't remember who did this, but somewhere in New York City, they were asking these crazy people why voter ID law should or shouldn't be a thing. They said, no, it shouldn't. Black people can't go get IDs, whatever. Then they go to the streets of Harlem, New York, one of the most black neighborhoods in America. Every single one of them goes, I have an ID. I don't know a single person that doesn't have an ID.
Yeah.
These people are racist to us for thinking that. I agree with them.
Yeah.
You think somebody, just because somebody's black, they can't get an ID to go vote.
Which is insane.
That's the most racist thing I've ever heard.
Now, have they made it difficult? I mean, is there the notion of the fact that they made it difficult in certain areas for the black community to get out because of how far away it is?
I mean, maybe.
Right.
I don't think so.
But there's been case of, I mean, I've talked to people about it. By the way, the Oxford definition of Hispanic, just for those of you that don't believe that I'm allowed to celebrate my own life, the Oxford Dictionary for Hispanic states, this is the definition, relating to Spain or to Spanish-speaking countries, especially those of Latin America. So the literal definition of being Hispanic is relating to Spain or Spanish-speaking countries. So it starts with my country. It starts with where my family came from. But there's people that will look at me and go, no, it's not. And so, you know what I mean? It's like, I guess you can believe whatever you want to believe and do whatever you want to do in your life because we have free will. But free will doesn't mean that you're not an idiot. Free will doesn't mean that you're logical, rational. Free will doesn't mean that you know what you're talking about. See, the thing is when I tell you I'm proud of who I am, that's not up for debate or discussion. When I tell you I love me, that's not up for debate or discussion. When I tell you that I'm proud of who I am, that is not up for debate or discussion. When I speak the language that I speak, and I've learned Spanish over time, and I love the language, the fact that it's a part of my life is not up for debate or discussion. And the people that love me, it's fine. But when I sit and have a conversation with you, what I find wrong with America today is that if someone is here and you don't agree with everything they say, let's say you agree with 9 out of 10 things, and they're here. They put you here because you didn't agree with all 10. So you're an extremist. You're on the whole other side. No. I'm right there next to you. I'm just not all the way next to you. And here's the thing. How can you tell me that at the fiber of my being, none of the things that I care about matter? None of the things I care about are real. But everything that you care about matters, and everything that you say is real. I had a conversation with somebody that was polar opposite of me. But all the things that he stood for, he didn't care about 2 years before. He started caring about it when the news told him to. He stopped joking about it when the news told him to. And I said, you didn't live by this. I believed in God my entire life. I've had morals and values my entire life. I've been proud of my heritage my entire life. I was mad that my family didn't tell me I had Hispanic blood until I was 14. I grew up thinking I was 100% Italian, and I leaned into that culture hard, and I still do. But I would have leaned into both if I had been given the information. I was pissed. I joke about it. I say I have a George Lopez life because if you watch George Lopez's TV show, there's a bunch of them, but the one that was called George Lopez, and about his family, and his mom would like tell him things when he was a grown adult that he never knew about himself, and he's like, why am I finding this out now? That's how I felt. And I joked about it, but I was hurt about it. So this is how I approach people. I treat you the way I want to be treated. The only people that I know that I don't talk to, and I guess I'm going to out myself now. The only people that I know that I don't talk to are people that have been ridiculous, mean, hypocritical, heartless, negative, naive, ignorant, rude, crass, and double standard people. If you know me and we don't talk, it's because you did something some kind of way that I would never do to a person. That is why we don't speak. I find it hilarious, Murph, that when the media is together, and I'm not talking about all of them, but I had an example of this last week. There was a guy in the media that was at an event with me, and I was asked by the school to shoot a video, and I was live streaming. This guy ended up coming. He didn't get invited to the whole event. He got invited to part of it. So I'm streaming. He screams at me in front of a bunch of children in a Catholic school. Dan, get the F out of my way. Screams it. Doesn't apologize. Doesn't say anything to me. Doesn't talk to me after. And whenever he's in a group of media people, doesn't say a word. But when he's alone, hey, Dan, how are you? I'm good. When he's alone. But when he's together, it's like high school bullying. When they're together, Dan's over here, Treehouse is here. When they're by themselves, Dan, how are you? How you doing? How are things been? I'll hold the door open for you. I'm going to pretend like I never screamed in your face. I am all about giving everybody a shot. And there's only one type of person I don't like. A diligent a-hole. It's got nothing to do with your character. Or, pardon me. It's got everything to do with your character. It has nothing to do with your color, your money, your religion, your background, your job, your gender, your sexuality. The only people I don't like are the people that have decided that the way that they're going to treat you is a way that they would flip out if they were treated that way back. Those are the people I don't talk to. So if you cross paths with me and you wonder why I'm quick, you wonder why I'm not trying to have a conversation with you, it's not because I hate you, because I pray for you every day. But if you are a mean-spirited, mean-hearted, double-standard, hypocritical, evil, acting human being, I'm not saying you're an evil person, but if you're an evil acting human being, I'm not with it. I'm not about that, and I'm not fake. So if you treat me some kind of way, I'm not going to hit back. I'm just going to excuse myself. Because this world needs to understand. The only people you should not be associating with are people that are hateful and mean and crass and immoral and lacking of value. If they look different, sound different, act different, come from different places, that's a good thing. That enriches your life. The people you need to stay away from are pretty clear. They will show you. And if I'm having a conversation with someone and you're screaming in my face and I'm talking like this, I'm going to ask you one time to calm down. If you don't, I'm out of that conversation, baby. Because I don't need that in my life. And this world would be a lot better off if two extremes stopped screaming at each other and we just sat together and started talking. I mean, this is an easy concept, Murph. You and I don't agree on everything, but it doesn't change our friendship. It doesn't destroy the fact that I consider you a little brother. I would like to think you consider me a big brother. You know, you and I don't agree on everything, right? When you sell cards, here's a prime example. When Murph sells a card, Murph says to you, this is what I spent on the card when I bought it. This is what I spent to have it graded. This is what I spent to have it shipped. So I spent $150 and I made $200, so I only made $50. I look at it differently. I go, I spent money on all these cards over the last 30 years of my life. If I make $100, bang, baby, that's $100 that I did not have. So in Murph, he's like, nah, man, that's $40 when you break it all down. And I'm like, Murph, I got $100 in my wallet that I didn't have yesterday. It's $100. And that's where we're different. I get where he's coming from and I get what he's saying. I just see it a lot lighter and I see it more in like a different way. But I'm not going to sit there and fight with Murph about it because at the end of the day, if we go and have a good time at the Fishtown Card Show, who cares?
Exactly.
That's what it's about, right? You don't have to agree on everything. We agree on a lot, but we don't have to agree on everything.
And that's the thing. Like, no two people are going to agree on absolutely everything.
No.
Literally. if they did, it would just be like, okay, this is really weird.
Yeah.
Literally. Obviously we disagree on that. We disagree. I somewhat disagree with you a little bit when we talk college football with the Big Ten situation. We don't have to get into that right now, but, you know, there's things people will disagree on. It happens. That's the nature of being a human.
Yeah.
God gave us free will for a reason, right?
Yeah.
People don't always use that free will in the idea that he wanted us to use our free will. But that's why he gave us free will.
Yeah.
And that's why there will still be, bad things that happen, unfortunately. You hope those people can, sort their lives out and everything. But you get, just to kind of wrap this whole, bring this whole thing back together, I will never be one to judge somebody for any reason other than something that you give me, right?
Yeah.
You give me a reason to judge you one way or the other, I will. You're a nice person, I'll judge that you're probably a pretty nice person. If you're a jerk, I'll judge you that you're probably a jerk.
Yeah.
Right? I know I could be a jerk sometimes. It could happen. I know I don't have a ton of patience with certain things. That's probably why part of the reason some people don't like to play golf with me. But in the end, it all comes back to the kindness you get out, kindness you put out into the world has a way of coming back to you, right? It's if you're good to people, mostly people will be good back, right?
Yeah.
Literally. And we're going to get to this in a few minutes, but at the show I was at yesterday in Morris County, New Jersey, I made so many deals yesterday just for being easy to work with. I walked around the room at one point. I was looking at a Purple Shock CJ Stroud PSA 10. $220, $240 card, roughly.
Yeah.
Guy had 3 of them. I asked him how much he wanted for one. $300. I'm like, I walked away. I'm like, yeah, dude, what drugs are you smoking? Right? Like, that's why your case is still full. Because you won't work with people.
Yeah.
I made 2 deals with dealers. Both were with dealers that one was with a dealer I knew from the Philly show last year, and another was with a guy that was very easy to work with. The card that I'll show it off later. That one card, the guy I was chatting with the guy about the card, and he said he had some people that have he told people like this is what I would take for it. And I was thinking it over. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, I kind of wanted to be at 650, but I figured he would have said 7 and we would have settled on 675. So when he said 675, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good with that.
Yeah. And
that card's already sold.
Yeah.
Literally. I heard he sold it for a profit.
Yeah.
Not a big profit, but I sold it for a profit.
Right.
It's one of those things where, especially at card shows, if you are easy to deal with as a dealer, you will sell a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
If you have good stuff and you're easy to deal with, it is easy to make money.
Yeah.
I'll get more into this later, but my showcase was basically empty at the end of the show yesterday.
Yeah.
I had like a dozen cards left.
Yeah. I get it. I mean, I had a kid literally sit with me, or like a new kid. He's like, I've been collecting for like a month and a half. He had the Brock Purdy that I showed last week. And he just stood at my table and he looked at stuff, and other people come and ask questions to go or don't say anything and look around. And he like stood at the table for like 40 minutes. And he's looking, he wanted to get a deal done. And he was sticking around because he wanted to get it done. And he was like, what about this? What about that? What about this? We agreed on something. He did not leave my table. We're at GG Cards and Breaks Trade Night at the Wildcat. You got 3 hours to walk around and do your thing. And he spent almost a third of that time at my table because he liked the interaction, liked the energy. I mean, if I went to him and said, this is my deal, that's it. Or if I didn't say anything when he walked up to the table, if I didn't say hello, if I didn't say, can I help you with anything? If I didn't say, what are you looking for? If I didn't introduce myself, probably would have walked away. But when the first deal didn't get done and the second deal didn't get done and the third deal didn't get done, we got a deal done. How did we get a deal done? Because we were two nice people. And he obviously he was open to moving something. I was open to moving other things. We had a conversation. And we got it done. I mean, I think one of the coolest things that ever happened was trade night last month when I was with Shane, who works over at the Wildcat. Go and see Shane and the crew at 3680 Melton Avenue in Camillus. He's got some awesome, awesome cards. So I'm out there working with Shane, I'm out there talking to Shane, and he goes, what do you want for your Griffey, my Griffey auto? And he was like, I'm going to think about it. I gave him a price, and he was like, you gave me a lower price before. I said, I did. And I said, if I gave you a lower price, we were talking about it, I go, if I gave that to you, I'll honor that. I said, because I know certain people I'll talk to. If I gave that to you, then I'm going to honor that price. He said, well, come over, look at my stuff, see if you like anything. I picked out like 6 things I like. I walked away because I promised I would go look at another table. I came back and I said, I want those cards. He said, yeah. And he goes, for how much? He goes, those cards and what money? And I gave him money. And I said, I want those cards in this price. And he literally looked me in the eye and went like this and handed me a wad of cash. He goes, it's exactly what I was thinking. And I counted the money. We did not discuss the price plus the cards. We discussed the price without the cards. He handed me the money. It was the exact amount of money that I said to him. First number I gave him, that's what he had in mind. And we did the deal. And we shook hands and was like, good doing business with you. But Shane has been nice to me. And Shane and I, from the first show, the first GG Cards and Breaks trade night at the Wildcat, I've wanted to do something with him. And we've done some things, but I wanted to do something with him that was maybe on a larger scale or get some of his stuff and bring his stuff home. And we did it because he's a nice guy. And we talked to each other like humans, and we figured it out, and we got it done. It's not that hard, people. Congress could learn from sports card deals. Just be a nice human and realize that when you're literally making a deal between two people, it has to benefit both parties. Everyone wants to benefit themselves. That's a given. But will you want to benefit a total stranger? That is how you get work done. You have to look to benefit the other side. If it's simply transactional about you, you're going to meet a lot of shady people, you're going to meet a lot of ridiculous people, and you're not going to like working with them. But when you work with people that you think about them and they think about you, holy crap. You know when COVID hit and all these businesses went through hell? You know what my team of businesses did? They stuck by me through the whole thing. You know what I did? I stuck by them. You really got to look at the people you put around yourself. And I'm so grateful to God for the people he put around me. We're going to take a step aside. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk about some sports card show and tell before we wrap up today's broadcast, a wake-up call inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. DT and Murphy, we got our third Fishtown show in Philadelphia coming up at Rivers Casino this weekend. Y'all better come out and see us. It is Sunday, August 18th, and we're going to have a really awesome time out there. Murph and I will talk about it right after this. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. And make sure you head out to that Brooklyn Pickle. It is literally minutes from arguably the best, if not one of the top places to golf in the entire United States of America. Pinehurst Golf Course is right by this wonderful Brooklyn Pickle. So if you're going out golfing today, make sure you're eating right and head off to the Brooklyn Pickle either before or after. And you can find them on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Murph and I are here to talk about cards. Murph is going to be holding up his hand, and you're going to think that it's invisible, but it's like the Emperor's New Clothes. The clothes are there. You just can't see them. So Murph has sold so many of these cards. I got a bunch of stuff because I did 2 box breaks, proudly presented by GG Cards and Breaks. So I did the box breaks, and thank you for so many of you watching them. We're definitely kicking up the amount of people that are watching and listening to them. So thank you. GG Cards and Breaks, I know thanks you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse. I thank you, of course, here on Wake Up Call. So I bought some stuff from them, and I also did 2 box breaks. One, Allen and Ginter Major League Baseball Topps 2021, and then I did my Bowman U Chrome 2022 football. So I will show off my stuff, but I will defer to Murph first.
Yeah. So as I was kind of saying and teasing before, I was at the Morris County Card Show in North Jersey yesterday, in Parsippany, and yeah, great show as a dealer.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't the best show for a buyer, I would think, considering I only walked around and was only able to really make 2 deals because people were being unreasonable. But yeah, it found some really some cool stuff, and had some people bring me some stuff at the table that I was able to buy, and also sold a ton. I had 2 main guys that took almost everything I had.
Yeah.
One is a repacker, who I've made a couple deals with before. Real nice guy. He's able to pay full comp on everything. So the only real conversation was, okay, what are the comps on each of these cards? And then add up the number.
Yeah.
So it took us, maybe 10 minutes. He pulled whatever cards he wanted. We each looked up the comps together. We agreed on what the comp was, and then we just added up the numbers. Once we added it all up, we were done, and it came out to like $1,370 or something like that. And he paid me, and that was that. We chatted for a couple minutes afterwards. Like, the deal took 10 minutes, right? Like, listen, vendors, if you're gonna get someone that's gonna take all your stuff, and as long as you make, if someone's gonna take a bunch of your stuff, as long as you make profit, who cares? This dude took all that stuff at full comp. I might have lost money on all that stuff if I didn't sell it at full comp.
Yeah.
So that was great. And he even, gave me my sticker on a couple of different cards that that I would have been losing money on, and I appreciated him for that because it wasn't all that far off from what the comps were. So it was a card like I was off by maybe $10 on a $200 card. He didn't really care about that.
Yeah.
There was even an Anthony Richardson RPA that I had sold to a friend of mine that I didn't realize it had a couple like indents in the back, so it had some damage. He couldn't sell it. So he texted me, he asked what I could do. I said, I'm happy to take it back. I'll take it back for what I gave it to you for. So I was like, okay. So I took it back, got it back on Saturday. That was one of the cards he took. I told him about the damage. He's like, don't worry about it. It's a repack. I'm not concerned about it. Yeah. He gave me $330 for the card. I had bought it back for $255. I made almost $100 on that one card. Right? So like I made $75 on it.
Yeah. So
like who am I to complain there? Right? So that was good. And then the other guy who was actually a dealer at the show, said he liked a lot of the stuff, and we chatted, and I said, like, listen, there's mostly everything I'm happy to do. If you're going to take a lot, I'm happy to work something out. I'd be happy to do a lot of this stuff at 85% of comps. So he appreciated that. He pulled out a ton of stuff. There was one card that we had to keep out of the 85% thing because we were trying to figure out a number of where I wanted to be at. But yeah, so it was, we basically all we did was agreed on comps and then did whatever 85% of that number was. So we added it all up, did 85%. It came out to right around $1,400. And then we just negotiated for the last card and then added it onto the price. And it ended up being $1,760, I think it ended up being. Right? It was $3,100 on 2 deals. $3,200 on 2 deals. Literally. And I have a picture of what was left in my showcase at that point. It was actually quite funny. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. A baker's dozen cards were left. That's all that was left in my case. And that case was full at the beginning of the day.
Yeah.
And I made money on those 2 deals. I made $300 total, roughly $300 total on those 2 deals. But when you can do that, now I got money to go buy at Fishtown. I had money to buy what I have in front of me. Right? So, why not? So let me, get into real quick a little bit about what I got. So I made a trade with somebody near the end of the day. And I'll show the 2 cards I got in that deal. And I traded him an Ellie De La Cruz Onyx Auto. It's non-licensed, so it's not crazy expensive. We valued it at $160.
Yeah.
He gave me, I believe it was $115, and then he gave me this Christian McCaffrey, and he gave me
I have that.
this Aaron Judge rookie.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's PSA 9. It's just Donruss rated rookie. It's not an expensive card.
Yeah.
Comps at like $35.
I might have sold
And
that one.
an Aaron Judge rookie. So I was more than okay with that. It was a fair trade and everything. I then had this was after those big deals happened. I had a Shohei Ohtani Topps opening day rookie card. I had a guy came up to me and said he liked that. He's like, would you do something with these 2 Acuñas? I said I was happy to do it straight up. These comp at around $70. The Ohtani was around 60, but he said he was good with that because he thought there was more upside in the Ohtani, which there is. I get that.
Yeah.
This was not from yesterday, but this is a card I got on Monday that didn't make it through. It didn't make it into any of the deals. This is the Tyrese Halliburton Illusions rookie.
Yeah.
I'm going to try not to buy much more basketball, but, we'll see. Almost all the basketball went.
Yeah.
Thank God. Thank God. And then I got these 2. These are the 2 cards that I picked up at the end of the show, or near the end of the show after I pretty much broke down. One's already sold. Going to meet. I sold it to a friend of mine. I'm only making $15 on the card, but $15 is $15. I will take it. I'll get to that one in a minute. But the other one was a really, really cool card. This is from First Off the Line in Spectra. This is out of 35. It's a CeeDee Lamb RPA. Really nice looking card. I got this from a guy that I met in Philly. Real nice guy. I've dealt with him a little bit. So it was a pretty quick and easy deal. He was interested in this other card, but I decided to kind of just give him cash for the other one. But this is the one that, again, case it. Didn't have it for more than a day. It is a 2023 Donruss Patrick Mahomes Downtown.
Yeah.
That is a sick card.
Yes, sir. I like it.
I paid $675 for it, and I sold it for $690. So I already have the PayPal in my account. It's on its way to my bank account right now. I'm going to meet up with them later to hand off the card, and I told them to bring their stuff with them because I might probably want to buy some of their stuff. Just to make things easy. But yeah, so that was it was a phenomenal show. I thought it was great. Sitting there as a dealer was awesome. I met these 3 kids who had the table to my right. Actually, 2 doors down on the right, but the table in between us was empty, so we were kind of like each overflowing onto that table.
Yeah.
Their dad was there. I was chatting with the dad for a while, and when he went to go get lunch, he asked if I wanted anything. So he brought me McDonald's, and I handed him $20. I'm like, keep it. He's like, you sure? It was only $10. I'm like, I appreciate you asking. This helps me out. Like, keep it. It's like, I've had a good day. Don't worry. Like, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was good. And what's funny is I made quite a few deals while I had that McDonald's in front of me. So it got cold, but obviously nothing I can do about that. I think that's part of the reason why I don't really eat much at shows, is because it ends up getting cold and then I don't want it.
So last time we went to Fishtown, I ate a pretzel for 3 hours.
Yeah. Well, this time we already agreed we're gonna find you a place to go get your cheesesteak.
Yeah.
You need to look at places that are from somewhere between where the art museum is and getting back on the highway.
There's only 2 things that I want to do besides the Fishtown Card Show. 2 things, and they're extremely important. I've been to Philly more than once, but I've never had a Philly cheesesteak in Philly, and I've never run up the steps. I will be running up the stairs before I eat the Philly cheesesteak because I don't want to throw up. But
yeah.
but I told Murph, because Murph said on one of the recent shows when we were here on Wake Up Call inside of the Heritage Hill Studios, Murph was like, "Hey, just so you know, man, we're going to do the Rocky steps. You know, I'm going to keep my word. We're going to do that. And I was like, oh, did you think that I wasn't? Because if you started to drive on the highway and did what you did last time and go, oh, crap, they're right there, I would have tuck and rolled. I would have just jumped
Well,
right
last
out
time we also didn't realize we were going that way.
Yeah, I would have jumped right
It,
out of the
it
car.
took us. It took us a different way to go home.
Yeah.
So we didn't realize we were going there.
I'm going no matter what, Murph.
But we're going.
No matter what, we're
going.
doing this. And by the way, we need to, we have to film it.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
You know, and I
Film
got
it and take a picture in front of the Rocky statue.
Yeah, we have to film it because I need to celebrate this moment forever. But I'm very excited about it. Philly cheesesteak. I've heard some really good places. If you guys have good places and you're watching and listening, send it to us on YouTube.
Somewhere
Facebook,
close
or
to
Podbean.
the art museum, preferably.
Send it out, baby.
And not downtown. Because we're not going downtown.
Funny thing is, second time I ever went to Philly, I did go downtown. And it was because Ross Turetsky was doing a live comedy show. So I went downtown and we ate at a deli. I got yelled at from a man who was mad that I was in the bathroom before him. And that was exciting. I had a really good Half Moon cookie. And the comedy show, it was like the middle of the day. There was like a ton of people there. So I had a good experience. We literally came in, went out. It was like in for a couple hours, see you later. It took longer to drive there and back than it did to be there. But I've been to Philly for that. I've been to Philly for a Phillies game. I've been to Philly for a Villanova Wildcats Syracuse Orange men's basketball game. And I've been to Philly with Murph twice for Fishtown. And we'll be there for round 3. But I will absolutely be eating my cheesesteak. And Murph and I will be running the stairs.
Yes, 100%.
So my show and tell, and I'm very happy for you. Murph has a lot of money to spend. And Murph was so nice. He said 3/4 of the money that he gained over the last 24 hours is going to go to me. I don't know why he did it, but he said he would. And
yeah, I'm just a nice guy, you know?
He's just a really nice guy. I'm going to buy a $4,000 cheesesteak. So, so I got these from, everything I got is from GG Cards and Breaks, big surprise. But so I have a chrome. These are the ones I pulled out of their individual boxes and the boxes of the teams, as well as the new arrivals box. So this is a Bobby Witt Jr., just a chrome.
He was a massive name yesterday.
Yeah.
There was a guy at the end of the show that was the kid next to me had a really nice Bobby Witt Jr. 1/1 auto. Yeah, it was a Panini auto, and he had a silver prism Patrick Mahomes rookie ungraded that looked like it probably could get an 8.
Yeah.
And I apologize for cutting you off. It just brought that up for me. They end up not making the deal, and I said to the guy, I will give you cash for that card right now. And he wouldn't even entertain an offer. He was like, I would only trade it for a Bobby Witt. I'm like, but I'll give you cash
to go buy a Bobby Witt.
Buy a Bobby Witt.
Yeah. It
is a lot easier to buy a card than to trade for a card.
This is the one I'm not. I got a bunch of offers at the last trade night. This is the one that I'm not putting out in my case anymore because
keep it.
Sauce stays at home with
all
me.
All my PC stuff is up there in the closet. It doesn't go anywhere.
So this is the rest of what I got from GG individually. I just love this. And Anthony was looking at this card and he was like, how is this card priced at what it's priced at? Just like the sheer patch alone. It's Ryan Barucki. I think it's maybe Barucki. Is from the Toronto Blue Jays. It's numbered. Let me see here. I'm looking at it upside down. It's 68 of 99. It's an RPA. And look at the patch. It's a full A. They're like, why is that priced what it was priced? But give me the card. This is the second year card of Super Bowl champion and Syracuse Orange alum and upstate New York alum from Union Endicott and the Tigers. It's numbered to 399 and it's an auto of my dude Chandler Jones. And I got this one. Normally I don't buy if it's not PSA. Usually if it's not PSA, maybe an SGC. But this one is it's a gem mint 10 out of 10. It was graded from the International Sports Authentication, ISA. But
That's what's ISA. Okay.
yeah, but it was a 10 out of 10, or it was a graded 10 turbocharged Tua. And it was just a really nice looking card. And
Yeah.
it was very...
It's probably too cheap of a card to crack and resub, so I wouldn't even bother with that.
It was fairly priced, so I bought it. Here's some other ones that I got. So I'm gonna wait till the end on those. Here's my Allen and Ginter. So I got some rookies here. I got Garcia. I got his rookie card.
Is that Davy Garcia?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Huh.
I got Kirilloff. Got his rookie.
Alex Kirilloff. Okay.
So I got his.
So that's not from this year. That's from 2022.
2021.
21. Okay.
And then I got Kirk's.
Yeah, I should have known that about Kirilloff.
I got Kirk's rookie.
Mm-hmm.
I got Cameron's rookie. I got Paredes' rookie. I got Singer's rookie.
Ooh, gotta love Brady Singer.
And
He's having a great year.
I got a mini card rookie of Alec Bohm.
Take that with you on to Philly this week.
Oh, I will. And it looks cool.
It might only be worth a couple bucks, but
yeah,
that's the place you'll sell it.
It looks cool, like, because it's like suspended in the car
even if it's only a $3 card, you price it at $5 there. Someone will probably give you the $5.
Yeah, and then somebody must have knew this box was for me. Trevor Lawrence was in the box.
I love that.
And I pulled my first ever piece of a bat ever. And it's a Torrey Hunter's piece of his bat here from the Twins.
That guy should be a freaking Hall of Famer, man. He was one of the best defensive center fielders ever. I don't get that. But that is cool, though.
Yeah, so I got those from my Allen and Ginter box break presented by GG Cards and Breaks. So make sure you go out there and get boxes and packs today. I found a ton of things in my collection of the last year plus have all come from GG's. And then I opened the Bowman U Chrome 2022 box from GG Cards and Breaks. You can go back and watch both of those videos on our Facebook channel, facebook.com, where you are right now, /WakeUpCallDT. They're going to be added to YouTube. So it'll be 2 new shows for those of you that haven't seen them. There's a playlist on our YouTube channel of card breaks, so you can watch all of them from GG Cards and Breaks, and that's on YouTube at WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe and hit the notification bell. I must have got the Alabama box, which I'm totally okay with. And I interviewed a bunch of these guys and covered a bunch of these guys. So I got the first Bowman, and for those, again, of you, when you don't know, when it says first on it, this is their first card. It could be 2 years before they get drafted. It could be the year they get drafted. But it's their first card that's been put out in print that they have here. And this is Dallas Turner, who was in this year's draft, but in 2022 had his first Bowman. Will Anderson Jr., which I am building an awesome collection of him, and I sold one of his at GG Cards and Breaks last trade night. But I feel like someone's going to come after my Will Anderson collection, so it's out there. It'll be out there. We have a trade.
You want that?
What'd you say?
You want that with Tank Dell on it?
I like that one. I was actually going to send you a message because you and I talked about that before.
Well, I probably will still have it, I imagine.
Yeah. So this is the pink refractor parallel of a guy that I covered at Alabama, one of the names I love, Henry 2020. We have a Ramblin' from I'm telling you, I got a ton of Alabama. Jermaine Burton, the Ramblin' insert, Ramblin' that I also have of Xavier Worthy. This is not a Bowman first, but it is a college card of Mr. Nix, Bo Nix. This is a nice looking card, not a Bowman first as well, but I have a Stroud.
That's always good.
And to me, it's like any Stroud card, especially somebody that's looking not to spend a ton of money. And these are all in good shape, so some of these might get graded if they don't get sold. And this is one that's pretty, and I'm saving it for last. Pink parallel refractor, Bowman first card ever made of the one and only Gator, Anthony Richardson.
Ooh, I want that.
And as soon as I open it up, you could see my response on the video. I was like, "Wow!" And then I always call out Murph. But this is
Go Gators.
This is Anthony Richardson's first card.
Yeah.
And it's chrome and it's refractor and it's a pink parallel.
I bought an Anthony Richardson yesterday. Oh wait, it's in here.
It's very pretty.
I forgot. I didn't put it in the box. It's a cheap one, but that's what I got yesterday. It's just a cheap one. Color match.
Yeah. It's
Not
nice.
numbered.
The refractor.
I just thought it was cool.
Yeah, the refractor and the chrome. I've always liked that stuff. So
Yeah.
So these cards, for those of you that are interested in what I have and what I've, and I, by the way, the last time we went to a show, the Fishtown Card Show, I sold out of most of my graded cards, my slabs, and I have now replenished that, and I have arguably maybe the most I've ever had. But I have two things this week. This Thursday, August 15th, GG Cards and Breaks Trade Night goes back to the store. So I will see you at 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. This Thursday, August 15th, GG Cards and Breaks Trade Night. Already shared it on our social media, 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. this Thursday. Then, whatever I don't sell or trade there, Sunday, August 18th, Murph and I will be in Philadelphia at Rivers Casino for the third time together at the Fishtown Card Show. So I have double duty this week. I am so excited, and I can't wait for it. I'm sure I'm going to be buying, selling, and trading at GG Cards and Breaks because I got a good feeling about it. And Fishtown has been very good to me and have been my two of the best shows I've ever had were the two times I was there. So I'm looking forward to third time being a charm. And Murph, any words that you would like to share on your end of it of people coming out and seeing us at the Fishtown Card Show in Philadelphia?
I'm looking forward to it. We should have an official date for our show. So I'll have flyers on the table where we can talk a little bit about our show and promote it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to buying. So if you're going to the Fishtown show, stop by our table and bring me your cards to sell. I will look at just about anything. Mostly going to be looking for football right now, getting ready as we're gearing up to get into the season and everything. But I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping to buy as much as I can, and I made the money to pay off the credit card for this month.
Good.
Right, so we're good on that. I don't have to worry about it. I'm not gonna bring all that money with me. I've kind of already decided I'm putting about $2,000 in the bank so that I can, comfortably pay that bill off and have my stuff ready for next month. But I'll still probably be bringing a good amount down with me, probably $1,500 to $2,000 or something like that, and It'll be a fun show. I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm gonna get a T-shirt.
It's always a fun one.
I'm gonna get a T-shirt made for you because it's a 3-word quote that you've said the last 2 shows and you've made known for this show. The shirt will simply say, "I am buying," for you.
Yep.
So.
Yes, sir.
I do want to share this though. I think I've shared it before, but it's like sits in its own place in my studio. It's an orange sapphire parallel Bowman of Jordan Travis.
Get that out of my face. It's in his Florida State uniform.
It's an auto.
I don't want no Florida State Jordan Travis crap.
And
I want his Jets RPAs when they come out.
It's 25 of 25. And it sits
That is sick, though.
That's
sits
sweet. Right here with me. Thank you to Joe Anarino for the deal that we got done for that guy at GG Cards and Breaks Trade Night. So we'll see you for Trade Night this Thursday, August 15th at the store, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse. And I will see you with Murph in Philadelphia. And that will be, and so I'm having a Donovan McNabb week because I'll have my first Trade Night of the week in Syracuse. And I will follow that with Philadelphia. And Syracuse had Donovan first before he followed to Philadelphia. So I'm having a Donovan McNabb week. Excited to do that. Murph, as always, I appreciate you tremendously. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we will talk soon. And the next time Murph and I see you on Wake Up Call, it will be from Murph Studios.
We'll be welcoming you from my humble abode.
In the
one that we thought we would not be living in anymore, but that hasn't exactly been the case. So yeah. We'll see you guys on Sunday and then again on Monday morning.
Sounds good, Murph. Talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
See you. That coming here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We're going to take one more step aside here on the show where sports meets life inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. And we'll wrap things up right after this, where sports meets life on Wake Up Call. Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the tastes of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, located for you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. You will find them every Tuesday through Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And you'll also find them on Sundays from 10 to 5 on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. While supplies last, they have football, soccer, hockey, basketball, baseball, all sport AEW, and UFC. They also have Disney Lorcana and Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, so many Magic the Gathering, so many great things. Singles, graded cards, packs, boxes. You could try your luck and see what you get out of a pack or a box. Or you can look at those singles, and they have every MLB, every NBA, every NFL team. They're the only store that I know that goes through the time-consuming world of building up these boxes where every single franchise that people are a fan of have their own box. And that time-intensive work that they do is really something that's awesome and unique and rare. They don't have to do it. They have those boxes. They have the new arrival boxes, and not just a new arrival box. They have new arrival for basketball, new arrival for baseball, new arrival for football. They have a bunch of cards in the center of the room that are graded. Then they have their display case that has their higher priced cards. Then inside of the cases, they have their baseball and their football and their basketball. They have some Marvel cards. They have Star Wars cards. So honestly, whatever you're a fan of, you got something to find. And once you pop, you can't stop type of feel to it, because it's exciting. It's fun when you open up a pack of cards and you see what you get. I mean, Murph and I do sports card show and tell, and I remember when I was a little kid, we used to do show and tell in school all the time. And when we did show and tell in school, I would get really, really excited of like, what am I going to show? And I always wanted it to be something that showed people who I am. It wasn't just something I had. It was a piece of my personality, a piece of what matters to me. By bringing in my show and tell stuff, it lets you know what matters to me, what's important to me, what I like, my personality. So GG Cards and Breaks helps you to do that as an adult. It helps you to have your show and tell, right? You open up a pack, you're so excited to show somebody, and you're like, hey man, look at what I got. Like this Anthony Richardson that I just showed on the broadcast. As soon as I open it, I'm like, wow, this is a really cool card. I really like this card. I feel like I'm not going to have any trouble selling this card. And then I was like, Murph is probably going to want it. I'm probably not going to sell it to anybody but Murph. So just head out there today, or this week, I should say, and be a part of GG Cards and Breaks. Josh and Anthony are an incredible, incredible leadership group. They care so much about it. There's so many people that are there to help you. The first person I ever met there was Joel, one of the kindest people I've ever met. And the whole team has been great. So go out and see them, see what they're all about, see what they stand for. I appreciate their guest service. I appreciate their quality of product. And I appreciate the fact that they're fighting so many battles for the sports card and trading card fan behind the scenes you don't even know. So when you go in and you buy from them instead of buying from a big box store, you're buying from people that really put a lot on the line just to give you something great. And that should never go understated, and it never will, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. GG Cards and Breaks. Go and see them, and come for trade night this Thursday, August 15th. It's once a month. This time around, it's August 15th. So come and see us this Thursday, August 15th, 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. at the store, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. With that being said, I want to thank you for tuning into today's show. We had a ton of fun. Like last week, Murph and I dove into the bigger things. And you know that Wake Up Call, the name of Wake Up Call is not just called Wake Up Call because it's a morning show. It's called Wake Up Call because it's meant to be a wake-up call. Sometimes I need one. Sometimes you need one. Sometimes we both need one. Sometimes somebody we love and care about needs one. And you share it with them. And the tagline for Wake Up Call is where sports meets life. And Murph and I have embodied that, especially the last 2 weeks, because we've talked about sports, but we've also talked about life. And we've talked about things that are really important. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. I don't care if you're liberal or conservative. I don't care if you're black, white, blue, brown, what religion, gender, sexuality. What I care, how much money you have. What I care about is, can you listen when you're wrong? Can I listen when I'm wrong? Can we learn from each other? Can we work together? Can we show Congress that it can be done? You know, there's so much more of us than they are of the people that represent us. So if we want change, we have to be willing to show it. You can't ask for something you don't give. I mean, you can, but anyone who's smart wouldn't give you something that you're not given. And as much as people may agree with some of the things that Murph says or I say or somebody says on the show, you might agree with it, you might disagree with it. But the spirit of it is that whether we agree or disagree, that we are willing to have the conversation. And I think that treating people with respect and kindness, I mean, the golden rule, it's one of the biggest problems with America right now, is the lack of the golden rule. Treat others the way that you would want to be treated. Treat others the way that you would want to be treated. Most of us, I would imagine, unless we're completely insane, want to be treated well. Want to be treated with kindness, love, generosity, goodness, humility, right? Compromise. So if we want to be treated the same, then if we want to be treated well, then we need to treat people well. That's common sense. Don't ask for what you're not willing to give. And that's really all we're saying on the show. We might have ideals different than yours, but the spirit of it is the same. The spirit of it is, if you disagree with me, if you disagree with Murph, if you disagree with anybody that you watch and listen to, if you disagree with family members, if you disagree with girlfriend or a boyfriend or a fiance or a husband or a wife or your kids or your neighbors or your friends, can you still have the conversation? And can you still have a relationship with people that might be different than you? And I actually get excited when I'm in a conversation with someone who thinks differently than me, when we respect each other. I get a feeling of like, I don't focus on we're not agreeing. I focus on, wow, we just had a conversation where you and I think differently and we were able to talk about it. That's how I look at stuff. I look at things maybe a little bit differently than some people. Is I don't walk away from a conversation saying, I got you to believe what I wanted you to believe. I walk away from a conversation saying to myself, you believe what you believe, I believe what I believe, but that was so much fun that we talked to each other and we respected each other. That we talked to, like, those are the conversations, that the disagreements, because disagreements are different than fights, those are the ones that I love the most. Like, when you're in a relationship, if you and your girlfriend or you and your boyfriend are screaming at each other, that's awful. It ruins everybody's time. And I've been there and I've done that and I feel terrible about it because I'm like, why waste time yelling back and forth? But when you're in a conversation with someone and you disagree, but y'all like kiss each other and like hold hands after, and you're like, let's go get some ice cream. Like, you think this, I think that, but like, we're going to work together. Those moments in life should not be rare. They should be the common moments. And that's all Murph and I are saying is, you might agree, you might disagree, but why can't we work together? You know what I mean? And remember, Martin Luther King did not say, support black people because they're black. Martin Luther King said, base the way you feel about someone on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. That's what he said. Not the color of their skin, but on the content of their character. Don't see me as a black man, see me as a human being, the same way you see yourself, and look at the content of my character. And the powers that seek to divide us are telling you, you look different than them. You sound different than them. You come from a different place than they do. You have different money. You have different religion. You have different beliefs. You have a different way of doing things. If you're different in any way, separate yourself from other people. You realize that that's a control tactic. That's all that is. Because if you looked at my friend group, you wouldn't go, oh, you only like people like this. Nope. I mean, I surround myself with people that challenge me. I first and foremost surround myself with people that love me, and I love them. And we challenge each other. I don't have any yes people in my life. I don't have anybody that rah-rahs me without being honest with me about something. I mean, they support me and I support them, but we talk about real deal stuff. And when you can't, you know, I considered this one person and I to be really, really close, but I couldn't talk to him about like certain things. And so I got to a point where I was like, can I really consider this person my friend if we can't have conversations about things that like if we could talk about everything but this, how can I genuinely consider him a real friend, let alone a good friend or a best friend, if we can't talk about, like, if there's areas you should not have places where you can't go with people in your life. Oh, we could talk about everything but. Why can't you talk about everything? Then you got to hide a piece of yourself, and what does that do? So, you know, that to me is an issue because you should be able to talk about anything. And life is too short to like censor yourself everywhere you go. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying tell everybody your life. I'm just saying like be who you are. You know, be who you are. And you got a better chance of being a part of my life when you are you. I don't want to be around people that lie. And I mean, we could agree on literally everything in life and have all the same values, but if you lie to me, you're not going to be a part of my life. Because, you know, I had a friendship of 12 years end on a day where he lied to my face. I was like, I'm not going to hold a grudge. I don't wish bad on the kid. I gave him a bunch of opportunities to tell me that he lied to me. He didn't. He had hours that day, and he didn't. And those are things that you're like, okay, not only did the person lie, but they leaned into the lie. And they were willing to die on that mountain. I don't want to be around that stuff, you know? And I mean, I ended a romantic relationship, 2 of them, based on the fact that there was deceit and a lie. And one of them was almost 8 years that I had been with the person. And they did something to me where I was like, if you can bring yourself to cross this line, I can't knowingly stay with you knowing that you're probably going to cross this line again. And maybe they would and maybe they wouldn't, but it's a line I would have never crossed. And it's a line to this day that I've never crossed. Because I couldn't. I couldn't do that to somebody. I wouldn't. So, you know, as much as this show is about sports, it's about the bigger stuff. And I could seem angry at times, and I promise you I don't have hate in my heart toward anybody. I promise you I don't hate people that are different than me or believe different things. I promise you that I don't wish bad on anybody, and I'm not trying to hit anybody back. When people hurt you, it's really hard to not show your anger. And I think sometimes I do. And I apologize for that. Because ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, I just want people to love each other and be good to each other. So, with that being said, I thank you for tuning into this show, of this episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, as always. And cannot thank you enough for your support. YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, worldwide, video and audio, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time and beyond, like today. And on internet streaming radio worldwide on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. and beyond, Eastern Time. Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. You can search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Find us on any one of these outlets. Click subscribe and follow so that you never miss our shows on these apps. Again, and you get alerted when I air episodes and I add them to the archive. So, you can visit our incredible partners in Central Upstate New York, Heritage Hill Brewhouse, Heritage Hill North, Carvel DeWitt, where I have my own Sunday, the DT Dolphin, in connection with the Lemoyne Dolphins that are right down the road, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Avicoli's, Brian's Landing, GG Cards and Breaks, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world. Go and see them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Let them know that DT sent you, and then go see them at the fair. Mother's Cupboard, where I have my own sandwich, the Q-Smack Mother, which is my spin on the breakfast sandwich, available 7 days a week, bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. If you think it sounds great, it tastes even better. Pizza Man, Great Lakes, Honda City, Servomation Refreshments, that is reinvigorating and reimagining what it means to go and get a drink or a food item out of your break room at work or on colleges and university campuses. And of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Way Up every single Wednesday, bringing you the Dolphin time, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Lemoyne College. We are officially in year 4. That is extremely hard to believe that we're in year 4. That time passed by. It feels like we've been doing it for 3 months. We've been doing it for 3 years and change. Here we are stepping into year number 4. We were the first ever exclusive multimedia marketing partner ever signed on to work with Lemoyne College, that being Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, and we continue to be the source of their information, the first source and the exclusive source that gets you that breaking news. You can check out all of our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and of course find the Lemoyne playlist. You'll find the Dolphins Wednesdays during Dolphin Time live at 9 a.m. Eastern Time here on the show. And you will also find them on the wakeupcalldt.com homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to LemoyneDolphins.com and fins up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find your Bobcats every single month on Wake Up Call and what we call the Bobcat Buzz, giving you topics about the Bobcats, student athletes, coaches, and administration, men's and women's soccer, men's and women's basketball, baseball, and esports. Join us throughout the year. You'll hear from the coaches, the student athletes, and like I said, the administration, including Miss Mary Hawkins. They have 2 campuses, one on James Street up the hill from downtown Syracuse in Syracuse, New York, and their other location you will find right off of Route 57 in Liverpool, across the street from Avicoli's, where you are eating good every single week. The Bobcats can be found by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and look for the BSC Syracuse playlist. You'll also find the Bobcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find the Bearcats every Tuesday during Bearcat Time at 10 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide. Our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership features specials with Binghamton University Athletics Director Gene Marshall, his leadership segment called Moments with Marshall. The Bearcat Break Room, student athletes, coaches, and administration joining me to tell you about their journey, what matters to them, and their individual Binghamton story, and to give you a really an awesome kind of stitching together of a mural of who the Bearcats are and what they're about. You'll find all of this on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. You'll also find the Bearcats by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage underneath the exclusive underneath the exclusive partners tab and on the homepage. And for more information, go to bubearcats.com. And as you know, go Bearcats. With that being said, I want to thank Murphalation for the Nation. Brendan Murphy joining me as always on Mondays for DT and Murphy inside a Wake Up Call, which is inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Talking baseball, talking the NFL, talking about life in general. Sports Card Show and Tell, proudly presented by GG Cards and Breaks. And letting you know that you can come out and see us this Sunday, August 18th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at Rivers Casino for our third Fishtown Card Show. I love the Fishtown Card Show. That's why I'm dancing. So make sure you come out and see us at the Fishtown Card Show. Love it there. Staff is awesome. Experience is awesome. Buying, selling, trading is awesome. I have a great time. Got to network. Got to get a bunch of people to know about the show and what we do here on Wake Up Call. So to my Philly people, shout out to you. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope y'all continue to. To everybody up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the world, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for following. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. And as always, God bless, no stress. Do your best. I'll see y'all soon. Y'all stay safe.